information from the old retirees. He said yes, but I haven't reminded him to, in other, so that we knew what all of them are making, because I would like to address that.
The COLA.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Any news on Kim?
No, she sent me a link to the news article about
Yeah, I
it,
saw the news article.
but nothing else.
We got Jennifer.
So I'm assuming
And you
if
should pick one of those 2 chairs back there at the back. It's not
Everything about
intimidating
sun?
at all.
How you doing, Jennifer?
Fine, how are you guys?
We're doing well. Sorry, we're still just getting dinner, so.
That's okay.
Well, Jennifer, thank you very much for making time for us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. So Jennifer, we are going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, then you're free to ask us any questions that you happen to have. So, are you ready to begin? Sure. Actually, I forgot to mention, so both Daniel Sierra, council member for District 1, as well as mayor for the city. So, all right, Jennifer, I'll start the clock. I'm off the time sheet, so. Perfect. All right, so my first question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
Okay, so I work for Denver and I love it, but I live in Englewood. And I would like to do something a little bit closer to home. I've done planning school 1 and 2 and love that. Figured it was time to put my toe in a little bit further.
Cool. Perfect, thank you so much.
I lost my paperwork. So I'm Rita Russell, I'm one of the at-large council members. And my first question for you is, what knowledge, skills, or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions you marked as preferred?
Oh, goodness, okay. I may have to ask you to repeat that. It was kind of a long question. The positive benefit, I think, is an interesting question because, I'd be bringing my perspective to this board and hopefully have a good influence. And it was the Parks Board that I applied to. So influence on sort of what happens in our parks. I mean, to be one voice of many, but I think with my background in planning, my children who have strong input, I think I have something to offer from that perspective. And I think I would love the chance to bring it to the board. And I don't think I answered your whole question.
The second part was, you might have, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions you marked as preferred? So I think you answered that as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. The other question I have is, can you describe an experience in the past which you worked in a group of people that have, with diverse and sometimes opposing viewpoints and perspectives?
Yeah, I'm in capital planning in Denver, and there are a lot of opinions in the room about how to, really what to fund, what order to fund things, what's more important. And I think a lot of what makes our process work is strong communication and ensuring that all voices are heard. You can't please everyone.
Right.
I have learned you can't please everyone. But if you're able to bring people along in the process, then they may not like the outcome, but they're like, oh, fine. I see how you went from here to there, and my input was incorporated as best it could be.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good evening, Jennifer. I'm Tina Prang. I'm one of the at-large council members. And my question for you is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
Oh my gosh, so many things. All right, so I've been here now 7 years. I moved from Florida. I love the events we host, phenomenal. The library, I mean, we go there weekly. We're on a first name basis with the librarian. Wayfinding, I realize it's minor, but it's a really neat thing that everyone's been able to do. I love driving by the signs. The projects we're doing, so Hampton Avenue, and what that's gonna do. I love how Broadway's evolving from an economic perspective. Yes?
That's a great list.
Very
Very
good. You made me a
list at
first.
that.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer, really.
It's the first place I've lived where I've really liked so much of it and really appreciated the effort that you guys put in and really see the sort of the outcomes of that. So.
Hi, I'm Steve Warda, I represent Council District 4. My question for you is what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the board or commission that you applied for?
Okay, I have an answer. I love the way we got our park bond passed, which is phenomenal. I would love to see our equipment lean more toward nature play and less toward like the prefab stuff. And I say this because my kids are the connoisseurs, right? And when I take them to some of our playgrounds, they get bored a little more easily. And if we go to somewhere where there's a little more risk, nature play, there's a really nice one in Westminster. Or the one down right outside Denver Museum of Nature and Science, where there's logs and things to climb on and rocks, and it's really nature focused. So I'd love to see more of that here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Manning-Camp, District 2 Council Member. Couple questions for you tonight. One is regular attendance and engagement on all of our boards and commissions is required. Do you have any concerns about attending the scheduled meetings?
I don't. I checked my schedule with my family ahead to be able to make sure I could be there.
Wonderful. And then how, if you were to be appointed, would service on this board or commission benefit you personally or professionally?
Interesting question. I think it'd be nice to have a say. I mean, I think to know, and maybe it's twofold, to know that I had a positive impact on the parks, but also it feels good that I can give back. So
That's great, thank you.
So Jennifer, we still have about 4.5 minutes left. Any questions for us?
I hadn't thought about questions for you guys. I should have prepared better.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
No, by all means, maybe give me a
While you
second.
think another, yeah, while you think of a question. So you, any other boards that you may be interested in since you just, you just marked down Parks and Rec?
I did mark Parks and Rec. Transportation Advisory would be interesting. Ultimately, I think the budget would be really interesting in library, but I don't know quite how what I could bring would fit into the last one.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest in the boards this time around.
Which is cool.
Which is great, which is a
Yeah.
great problem to have. Unfortunately, it just means that we won't get placement for everyone this time around. So yeah, if you're open to anything else. So transportation, budget, library. So, okay. Any questions? Anything that popped up? Any questions about the commission itself? I think Tina, you're the liaison, right, for Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's any questions that you have to
Just
have
thinking about sort of the bond and how that plays out. What's sort of the timing and how many parks a year? And I know there's a spend down.
Oh, that's gonna be a good question.
Yeah,
for
I
Christine.
can't answer that question.
Okay.
So
I know that there's a few that are in, like,
different stages
we're
of
looking,
the
at all of the parks and what was approved.
Mhm.
And then each park is in a different stage of
Yeah.
design at this point.
And are you adding more based on bond passing? Like I noticed Bates Logan there's 3 phases and it looks like the 3rd phase only happened because more money was found.
And it was part of a grant, so actually it's not part of the park,
Okay.
it wasn't part of the park bond. So
Right.
that's excluded from what was passed.
Okay.
But there are, don't quote me on this, but there's about like 3 parks that are already kind of like at the very end of the process.
Sure.
There's another 2 or 3 that are kind of like in the middle stages, but they're looking to get the design and that, well, I wouldn't say finalized, but they're trying to get that all done within the next few months.
Cool.
So
Okay.
that may be something, I'm not sure exactly how you guys are gonna be structured for Parks and Rec Commission, whether or not, how much of a say that commission's gonna have. Since I'm not the liaison, I'm not sure exactly what the conversations are, but.
Cool.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a lot of community engagement on this.
Yes.
Moving forward, so.
Yeah, any refinement of what was passed and kind of what we're doing, and each setting will be driven by those community conversations. Yeah. Can't change the overall scope of what we approved,
Of course.
obviously,
Of
but.
course, but then the implementation, and I worked on
Yes.
Denver on the bond, on their bond too, and so like what that looks like as it proceeds through the process is fascinating, how staying close to the intent, but then what sometimes delivery is tricky. So what do you do?
Yeah. Minute 40, if any other questions? Up to you, Jennifer, so.
No, I think
Okay.
give you guys a chance
Perfect.
to take a breath between your meetings.
Thank you.
Well, Jennifer, it's great to meet you. We're gonna deliberate after tonight's meetings about possible placement. We'll make a final decision next Tuesday night. And then at either Wednesday or Thursday, you'll hear from our city clerk in terms of this placement. And if you are on the board, you will start in February. So, but yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's great to meet you, and thank you very much for your willingness to serve.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer. Good night.
Have a good night.
What's SSC?
Sustainability.
Sustainability.
We have Killian, just one of those two seats back there.
How you doing, Killian?
Hey, good. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, caught me in a cough there. It's great to meet you, Killian. My name is Untitled Chapter. I'm a council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Killian, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask us any questions that you happen to have about the boards or any questions overall. Are you ready to begin?
Yeah.
Perfect. So Killian, my first question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I want to get involved. We've moved to Englewood about 2 years ago after having lived in Denver for 8 years and moving from a city of 700,000 plus to a city of 30-some thousand. It felt like my vote mattered 20 times more, a little bit. And we since then have seen some like ballot issues that were pretty narrowly decided. And I thought that's actually really cool. And it feels good to actually be able to do something even just as a voter that feels like it matters a little bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah, just want to get involved locally.
That's a good point. Thank you, Killian.
Good evening, Killian. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members. And I have a couple of questions for you. The first one is, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
I don't have any experience from a sort of corporate sustainability background in terms of like an office environment. What I could bring in terms of experience in that regard is more of the business to community connection there, and I've seen kind of how that has worked positively for outreach programs. I, for a long time, worked at Slow High Bike Co. in Denver, and we were one of the first shops to roll at the, where you could actually redeem the city's e-bike voucher program, and I got to see firsthand what a huge difference that made for just getting everybody more kind of mobile and involved. And we got to have a lot of wonderful conversations with longtime customers and community members who were, you know, undergoing a big change in their life because of a relatively small government program. But that was facilitated through the local business. So I think that I've got a retail background more so than a kind of NGO or city background, that I think if we're looking to drive kind of business partnerships and get communities involved through small local businesses, I've got experience working with that.
Okay, great.
It's been a fun way to get to do that kind of thing too.
Right. Thank you for that. And then, excuse me, my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past where you have worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Yeah, this one goes way back for me, and it was as a mountain biker, as a teenager in Michigan. A beloved city park was up for sale and development, and it was just a little park. Wouldn't matter to anyone who lived outside the city, but it had some trails that I liked mountain biking on, but it also was a bit of a birding spot. And the Audubon Society and the local mountain bike association, a bunch of other groups that previously and after that had kind of butted heads on their views of how to best actually use that land, showed up at the development meeting and stopped the sale. And I'm also not against all development by any means, but in this case, it was a kind of treasure that they didn't want to get bulldozed, and it was a green space that they were trying to be protected.
Okay.
And so I saw that working together, as well as going back to that program too. The working at a bike shop in Denver can narrow down the amount of the demographic of people that you interact with on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
But working with an income-based program, you get to broaden your customer base in a way that made it a lot more fun to come into work as well.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Killian. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member and also a fellow Michigander.
Heck yeah.
Say yeah to the UPA.
I wish. I was from the UP.
My question for you this evening is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
I like that I can walk around. I like biking around too, but it feels, we were worried moving from closer to downtown, like, are we really gonna move out to the suburbs? We value, being able to live in a walkable neighborhood and get around by bike. We moved to Denver without a car. So it was, when we got the opportunity to rent a house, it was kind of a conversation, like, are we really moving out to the suburbs and giving up that life? But that hasn't been the case, I found at all. We can still get around this city. Not that there's no friction in terms of getting around by bike or walking, but my spouse and I share one car between the two of us, and we can still do that. And we both work downtown as well, but we make that, and I would love to work locally too, but for the time being, that's where we're at. But I love that we can commute without being car bound, we can get around, see our friends without being car bound, and that there are green spaces and just a lot of good yards that make it fun to walk around too. That's what I love about being here so far.
Great answer and very validating to work that we're doing right now. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ward, I represent Council District 4. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the board or commission that you applied for?
I don't know very much about the history of the board. It is more just a topic that pertains to me. So as far as the specific strengths and weaknesses of the Sustainability Commission in general, I don't have a bone to pick at all. The maybe only bit of friction I've had with the city in my own life was kind of, and this might be outside of, and probably is outside the purview, or at least would be, something where the Sustainability Commission would have to cooperate with other boards, I'm sure, but is we have a yard. I generate a lot of yard waste. It's kind of a bummer that I don't have a municipal compost system to use. So if that's something that maybe the Sustainability Board has tried to address it and got nowhere before, but I'd love to potentially visit it.
We could have a long discussion about
I'm
municipal
sure,
trash.
I would know, and I would genuinely love to hear more about it too. It's just been one of those things where I'm like, I've actually received a couple of warnings from zoning saying you got to cut your weeds down. And I said, okay, it'd be great if I had a place to put those weeds, right?
Yep, no argument for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no. I know it's not that easy.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Camp. I'm your city council person in District 2. A couple questions for you. Thank you first of all for applying and for being here tonight. Regular attendance and engagement at our commission meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about being able to attend the meetings?
Not at the moment. I am currently working at the Patagonia store downtown. They really encourage their employees to do activism. That's a seasonal position that I'm hoping to extend. If I get a new job, then I would be applying to a new job with a commitment in mind already. So that I would just be able to say this is my availability. So there's a 1% chance that I would get offered a dream job where I had to step down from the position, but I really hope to not have to.
Okay.
The only other committee that I am on is the Denver Mayor's Bicycle Advisory Committee, but right now there's no conflicts between the meetings.
Great. And then how would service on this commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, personally or professionally?
I don't think people get, I think volunteerism and getting involved in your community is its own reward. I don't think people do it purely altruistically. I think it's intrinsically rewarding. It also, I'm someone who likes to get around and live in a green city, and it benefits everyone when they aren't just driving and looking at parking lots all the time.
That's great, thank you.
All right, well, Killian, we have about 1.5 minutes left. Any questions for us?
None other than, are there any goals for the commission beyond, it looked like it was kind of rebranded from Keep Englewood Beautiful. Did that represent like a major shift in priorities for the commission, or was kind of the?
Well, I think we made that decision, 2 or 3 years ago. So the board does have its, well, we have our sustainability plan as a city.
Mhm.
And so they are working on the tasks that fall underneath that. So there's different ideas that they're tackling from that perspective that they want to see the city implement. They're also doing smaller projects like just identifying, composting options. So that is something that they discussed over the past few months. They brought in different vendors and just different thought leaders to their meetings to kind of discuss what possible options they have, either on its own or as a city taking on as part of our goals. So, but overall, it's just a lot of it is just they're deciding what exactly they want to prioritize and how to help us meet our sustainability goals and provide recommendations to city council.
And I'm going to a workshop next Thursday for this, but it sounds like there's also somewhat of a resiliency component as well in terms of vulnerable communities that are most at risk for climate change.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's also
they
something.
have touched on that and we've touched on it as well as part of our strategic plan as well. So.
Okay.
But yeah, so Kelly, we are at time. We're going to deliberate after the interviews tonight. We'll make final placement next Tuesday night. At that point, somebody from the city clerk's office will reach out to you, possibly on Wednesday, about final placement. And if you are selected to a board, you'll be asked, or you will start in February. So.
Okay. Wonderful.
But Kelly, it was great to meet you. Thank you very much for making time for us tonight and your willingness to serve.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
Thank you, sir.
I forgot my drink outside, Mayor. I gotta go grab it real quick.
Good luck with your 1% chance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where's his drink? Does he got to go all the way downstairs?
There's water over there.
Okay. I'm assuming.
Oh,
that
he maybe left his bottle.
Yeah, I'm thinking he left his bottle in the community room. Oh, no, there he is.
No rest.
Come here.
It's all good. Mystery solved. Right, Sam? No, you're fine. And then just one of those 2 seats back there?
How are you doing, Sam?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for making time for us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, have a seat. Any chair. All right, there's Steve. So Sam, good to meet you. I think we met before. Daniel's here. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Sam, we're going to be asking you 7 questions tonight. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining, feel free to ask any questions of us. So,
Sure.
are you ready to begin?
Yep.
Perfect. So Sam, my first question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time? It looks like it's P&Z and E-Tech.
Yep, so primarily applying for planning and zoning,
Okay.
and then transportation secondary, and
Okay.
if there's need otherwise, I'm interested as well. But applying for planning and zoning because in my adult life, I've been just fascinated with land use policy. Very nerdy topic, but something I've just personally been interested in. I think it's one of the most underappreciated things in our lives that really shapes our world. So it shapes where we live, where we work, our commutes, schools we go to, our kids go to, combined with transportation policy. So it's just something I've been fascinated with, and it's really shaped my life, me and my wife's life. My wife works at Swedish Medical Center, and that's what brought us here, her job. And I don't know if it was a zoning committee decision way in the past or just by happenstance, but we live like between King Soopers and the hospital there, and it's been great for us. We kind of get to walk to a few restaurants in that area. We're able to sell a car and save a few $1,000s a year. So we're a car light household, 1-car household. That decision's not for everybody, but it's just a subtle way that land use policy has shaped our lives, and I'm just really fascinated by being part of the committee and just thoughtfully thinking through, future changes in the city.
So wait, I'm trying to think of where you're at, since there's 2 King Soopers. The one that's right here?
Oh, the one
or
east
the
on
one-
University.
On University. Okay.
Yeah, between here.
Thank you, Sam.
Good evening, Sam. I'm Rita Russell, one of the at-large council members. And I have a couple of questions for you tonight. The first one is, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And then in particular, how will you provide a benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
So by trade, I'm a data analyst. So if you're not familiar with analytics, just taking large amounts of data, synthesizing it into a something that's understandable for people to consume and make decisions off of. So it's, I think I'll bring that mindset to this committee. Yeah, I think practically though, I don't know if I'm gonna be given like a big load of data, but like practically in the committee, I think every decision has trade-offs. There's pros and cons. No one's happy with any, not everyone can be happy with every decision made. So it's really looking one step deeper into what are the trade-offs? What does, if there's data backing one decision, like what does it say? Yeah, so I think just bringing that mindset to the committee, level of rigor is something I would try to do before every meeting.
And then the next question is, can you describe an experience in the past in which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Yeah, so I work by trade as a data analyst, and on my team, we work with a lot of different types of people. So whether there's a lot of different cultural backgrounds, people live across the United States, and then people think a lot differently than me. So I'm more the analytical mindset. I work on a website for my employer. So I work with marketing people. I work with more business-oriented people, UX designers, which is more human psychology. Human psychology to have like design a website to make it usable. So just on a day-to-day basis, those are the type of people that I work with these different types of people. We have to have a common goal of making our website better. So, Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Good evening, Sam. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. My question for you is, what do you love most about Englewood?
What I love about Englewood. So I think what's great about Englewood is it is a smaller town. It's like 30 to 40,000 people. So there's like, people call it like small town charm, I guess, which I like. It's fun to say you're from Englewood, but it's also part of a larger urban context. So it has the benefits of being a small town, but there's the amenities of a bigger city here, and the job opportunities and the entertainment opportunities. So I love that. I grew up in a smaller town, so smaller school districts, et cetera. So I think there's something relatable about that. And then I love the parks. We live near Romans Parks. I think that's a really nice park. I really like Cornerstone Park. I know that's like Littleton, Englewood border, not exactly sure, but I think there's really good parks in the area too that me and my wife and have really been able to enjoy. So.
Thank you. You're the first person I've heard say, I love saying I live in Englewood. Or it's fun to say I live in Englewood.
I met some people recently who didn't know what it was on the north side of town, but I feel like the Arvada area, they don't really know much about the south side.
I'm Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see change about the boards or commissions that you applied for?
Yeah, I saw that question. Is that about, like, if I'm on the board, what in the city, what I would like to see change?
It's kind of an open-ended question. I think it relates specifically to the boards themselves. But that's not how most applicants answer it. So
Okay.
Probably a question that could use some refinement in the future. Yeah, just spitball at us.
Okay. So in terms of land use with the Planning and Zoning Committee, what I'm most intrigued about is on the north side of town, there's like the medical district, the Broadway corridor, and then I think we call it the city center district. I saw an article recently about how there might be like a redevelopment happening, or the conversation might be happening this year. I think I'm most intrigued about how that could really shape the future for generations of Englewood residents. So I think being a part of the board, I'd be really interested, or the commission or committee, just being thoughtful and thinking about, that's a pretty big decision, like what happens there. I think it'll shape the whole city, but especially that corridor. That's the thing I'm most interested in being a part of if I'm chosen to be on the committee.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Justin Unenkamp. You know me, I'm your city council person. It's nice to see you. A couple questions for you. Thank you so much for applying. regular attendance and engagement on the commission would be required. Do you have any concerns about being able to attend the scheduled meetings?
No, I have no concerns.
Okay, great. And then how would your service on this commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
So personally, I've always been, I don't know, from a young age, I've always been interested in like civic life, I guess, just kind of the political world. But something about me, I just don't see myself really running for elected positions or anything like that, or being involved in kind of this partisan world of partisan politics. So I think a position like this, for me, really threads the needle in the sense that I can make a difference kind of in the political sphere of Inglewood, the place that I live, but not really be directly involved in like electoral politics. Yeah, and then personally, like I said kind of earlier, there's a few of us out there, but I'm just always been really interested in kind of the world of planning and zoning, land use, and transportation. And I think it would just fill a desire kind of in me to, for that to be just part of my world and like a real responsibility that I have. So
That's great.
Perfect. Well, Sam, I think we have a little bit over a minute left. Any questions for us?
I guess, is there any specific qualities that you're looking for in someone for the planning and zoning committee?
Anybody want to chime in? Tina, anything from your experience on planning and zoning?
And it was an undertaking. Just learning the language to be able to function within a meeting was a big step for me. But I think just a lot of what you spoke to in your answers, just having that curiosity and the drive, like you clearly have a passion for land use and the implications, for the future generations of how we design, and just really being willing to do the work, like digging into the materials, asking the questions that need to be asked.
That was going to be the big one for me. Like asking, there's just so much to know about just zoning overall, and there's, you're not going to know it all. We have a great team here within community development that will answer the questions regarding what this might mean. So I ask them all the time. So just being willing to ask the questions, I think, is very important.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for considering me.
Yeah, Sam, thank you so much. We'll deliberate tonight. We'll let you know. We'll make a final decision next Tuesday night, and you'll hear from the city clerk's office maybe Wednesday of next week about placement. But it's great to meet you. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
Molly, so we have one of those two back seats back there work.
How you doing, Molly?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Hello.
How you doing today, Molly?
Oh, great. How are you all?
Doing well. Thank you very much for making time for us tonight.
Okay.
Molly, I'm Nathaniel Sierra. I'm a council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Molly, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask us any questions that you happen to have.
Okay.
Perfect. Are you ready to begin?
Yep.
All right, Molly, my question for you is, what motivates you to apply for a board this time around?
Yeah, so I've been a Inglewood resident for just over 10 years. I'm also co-owner with my husband of a local small business. And we recently had a child. He's about 2. And so that was when, actually, when I was pregnant, I started coming to city council meetings. So it was pretty obvious we were going to be, building a family in this city. And so, and it was, starting to feel a lot like home. And I don't know, I just, so I started coming to city council meetings. And I don't know, I just kind of gradually started recognizing the importance of local efforts to kind of, it's more effective when you're, like, to apply for a board or something like that. It's much more effective than, I don't know, like, commenting on the internet or something if you're wanting to actually affect change in your community. And I mean, the library board specifically, there's a whole other, subset of reasons that I was interested in the library board, but I don't know if that's another question or anything, or if you want me to get into that now.
Oh, well, I'm sure, I think it gets to it with the next set of
Yeah, the
questions, so
next-
you could probably
Great.
just elaborate then. Go ahead, Rita.
Hi, Molly. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members, and thank you for coming tonight. I have a couple of questions. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to the board or commission through your service?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a librarian almost as long as I've been an Inglewood resident. I work at the Auraria Library. I've worked there for my entire career so far in libraries, which is about 8 years. And so I kind of the same thing that I think would drive me as a library board member is the same thing that I always center in my work as a librarian, which is kind of the benefit of the community and like the community good, and on a kind of very more specific level than like what's good for everybody, what's good for actual Inglewood residents and who they are, and hearing their concerns and hearing what they want to see from their library, I think would be, I don't know, really interesting. And I as a librarian, we respond to the public. They request a set of books, that's it, and it's overwhelming. That's what we want to buy. And specifically, I'm in a kind of a weird niche area of libraries most people don't think of. So I work for the Auraria Library downtown. So it's an academic library serving 3 institutions. So my sort of niche specialty that I found my way in is kind of the intersection of legal issues in libraries, which is specializing in copyright and licensing. The licenses we sign for our electronic resources, which can be extremely expensive, require some in-depth negotiations sometimes. So that's kind of a niche expertise I would bring to public library. Public libraries don't have the scale of electronic resources as academic libraries do, but I kind of wonder if that would be a good perspective to have someone with that type of expertise and knowledge that's a little bit unusual for a career librarian. But it's really, it all comes back to like negotiating a contract. It all comes back to, okay, what is the benefit for the patron? And that's the ethos I hope to bring to the library board as well.
Okay, great. And then my next question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing and views and perspectives?
Yeah, certainly. I think serving the community as a librarian, you always run into that. And I think, so as a librarian, you're always going to run any public service job. I'm sure, city council would be the same way, where you're going to have like constituents or patrons in our case that don't necessarily agree with what we're doing or our policies or something like that. I am not public facing, but I also deal with people who have a different sort of understanding of things than I do when I deal with library vendors, right? The ones who sell us these resources. So I actually have a lot of experience in sometimes contentious but always friendly and professional meetings with library vendors who we're on literally opposite sides of the negotiating table. And so I guess if the kind of gist of the question is dealing with that, I've become very adept at sort of being friendly in contentious situations, or, so to sum it up, I hope that gets to the gist of your question.
Yes, it does.
Great.
Thank you.
We got about 4 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tina Pring. I'm also an at-large council member. And my question for you is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
Oh, yeah. I like, what differentiates it from like just kind of a place to live that's near Denver, right, is where I work, right? And so what's begun to differentiate it, again, I think when I got pregnant with my son, and we started to be like, okay, we're here, this is really gonna be like our home, this is where our son is gonna grow up, this is his hometown. I think what differentiates it, in my eyes, is the sort of robust, like, local feeling that you get, or I guess I don't know, I come from a very small town, I come from Leadville, if anyone knows Leadville, yeah. And so, yeah, it's strange, coming from there to a big city, right? You're like, okay, I'm just this one tiny person in this huge city. But having settled down in Inglewood, it's strange because I feel that small town community feeling again when, I'm used to the anonymous big city. So that's actually, I think that's my favorite part, is being so close to kind of the urban hub while having that, I think, extremely rare, like small town, like congenial feel of like, all the business owners downtown, they have your regular order, the downtown strip, I'm there every day. Yeah, I don't know, it's very cool to have that feeling in such an like close to an urban area. Yeah.
Great answer, thank you.
I'm Steve Borda, I represent Council District 4, and I am a graduate of Metro State, so I'm quite familiar with the place you work. I miss it a lot. So my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see changed about the library board?
I don't know if there's anything I hesitate to, jump in with improvements before, I even see how the machine works type of thing. So I'd say nothing, like I don't have anything I want to bring in and change. Because I've also seen that be a dangerous sort of approach to have when you're just going in assuming there's a problem and you want to fix it. So what I'd rather do is I'm the type of person to like sit back until I see somewhere where my expertise could be useful. But I'm sure there is a lot to learn from people who, well, not only, the existing library board members, but like city council and all of that. And so I would definitely want to take my time before, jumping in and making improvements or anything like that. Yeah, I would love to just have the chance to just lend my expertise to my community,
Great, thank you.
Yep.
35 seconds left.
Okay, I'll be quick. Regular attendance is required. Do you have any concerns about attending the meetings?
Oh, no.
Great. And if you were to be appointed, how would service on this board benefit you personally or professionally?
Oh, and professionally? I just would enjoy it, I think. It's hard to say professionally. Joining more committees is certainly not something I need to do, but no, I just really think I would enjoy it. I've really enjoyed coming to city council meetings or zooming in when I can. I like knowing what's going on in the city. It's very cool.
Oh, with that. Well, Molly, thank you very much for making time for us tonight. So we're going to deliberate tonight. We'll make final decisions on Tuesday night, from today. And then you'll receive a call from the city clerk's office sometime next Wednesday about placement. And if you do get selected, you will start in February. So, but Molly, it was great to meet you. Thank you very much for making time for us and your willingness to serve.
Okay, great. Well, thanks. It was great to meet you all.
Yeah, thanks so much, Molly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
here, or?
Did we lose Jackie?
Huh?
Looks like we lost Jackie. Ray's next?
Yeah, Ray's next. Come on, Ray.
Sorry, we got Ray, and it's one of the two seats back there on the back.
How you doing, Ray?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for coming tonight, Ray.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Ray, I'm Nathaniel Sear. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Ray, we're going to be asking you several questions tonight. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask any questions. So,
Okay.
are you ready to begin?
Sure.
Cool. Start the clock. So Ray, my question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I've applied for the Water and Sewer Board, mainly because I have 32 years' experience in the water, wastewater field. I applied a lot of my knowledge and training to my career, and I think I have the opportunity to pay it back to my community as well.
Perfect. You said water and wastewater?
Water, wastewater, yeah, stormwater.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Ray. I'm Rita Russell, and I'm one of the at-large council members. It's great to have you tonight. I have a couple questions. First of all, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on this board?
So essentially, my all-adult working career has been involved with municipal governments one way or another. I started off as a wastewater operator in a lot of small districts like Black Hawk and Stonegate when it was small, and so I have the knowledge of how a small government works. I work now for the city of Aurora. I've been there 22 years. I kind of feel like I understand how government works. I understand how from a small government, I worked for the town of Hudson, which I think at the time was probably about 1,700 people, to probably the third largest city in the state is what Aurora is right now. I'm hoping that my knowledge and can be a benefit to the city and the citizens.
Thank you. And then my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Pretty much every day. So I mean, as you know, I started off as an inspector and construction manager. So I have to build working relationships with each contractor, each project every time I go in there. I worked my way up to now the manager, which I report directly to a deputy director. Part of what I do is I do training and with these inspectors and my knowledge and my skills and my experience. I manage a team of 22 pretty diverse people. I work directly with the planning and engineering department, and now things are changing. It's not just the old school guys that the cowboys you might want to call them that are in the construction field. Now we're getting more integrated with a lot of younger people and engineers. So I'm able to balance that between who I'm talking to and what I need to be successful.
Great.
So I feel pretty comfortable working in that environment.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Ray. I'm Tina Pring. I'm also an at-large council member. And my question is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
I like the community. I like how diverse it is. I can go to one side and see something different than I see on the other side. I think that I think that's probably what I like about it the most. My kids both live in Inglewood now. I grew up in Littleton, so I guess I just like this whole southern community. It's close to Denver. It's 20 minutes away from being in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. So I think that's what keeps me here. I did spend about 11 years outside, like up in the northern Colorado area, and I'm back. So my parents moved me here in 1979, and they still live in the same house over by Southland. So I just did. This whole area I like it.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ward, I represent Council District 4, and my question for you is a request to tell us what, if anything, you'd like to see improved in Inglewood regarding the Water and Sewer Board.
Well, I've been around, I talked to a lot of people, and we all know the number one complaint about the water is the taste. With my experience, I kind of get into a lot of conversations because I have worked for a lot of municipalities. I would like to see the water quality be better. However, I understand that it takes money, right? And I kind of go on that high horse or in that podium saying, you guys want to pay $200 a month for your baseline water bill, we can get you there, right? I know that. But I keep, it's a balance. I would like to see the water be better. I don't know that much about the sewer system. I know we sent it to South Flat Renewal, I believe, right? And it, as far as I know, it's successful. I think the water quality could be better, but I think we need to find a unique way to do it. I think that when you're working in this type of budget with this size of city, that it's different than, Aurora, obviously, and different than the other side of it that I felt like with the town of Hudson, where, I'm out there in the middle of the night trying to pump up a water tank because the controls are so old that the old guy used to go out there and flip the switch at 8 o'clock in the morning, let it run for a couple hours, and he'd go back at 5 o'clock and run it again. I'm not joking.
We might have some of those controls here, right?
Well, it took me a little bit of time. And I didn't know that much about SCADA controls at the time. And I went, look at this unit, and there's these old mercury switches that
Oh my gosh.
roll back and forth. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to make this thing work. And I swear, within like a month, I had it running on automation again. And to me, that's kind of what maybe I can bring to the utility. Some of the innovation that I've learned working in different municipalities.
Great, thank you.
I'm Chelsea Camp, District 2 Council Member. Thank you for being here and for applying. A couple questions for you. Regular attendance at the sewer board would be required. Do you have any concern about attending the meetings as scheduled?
No.
Great.
I had verified with my employer that there wouldn't be a conflict, so.
If you were to be appointed to this board, how would it benefit you as a citizen, either personally or professionally?
I didn't really think about it professionally. I guess it could, maybe as something on your resume, but I think personally, I would feel like I'm doing my part and be able to answer some of the questions when they come up and get into those conversations and hopefully lead the whole community in the right direction, I think.
Thank you.
Ray, we have 3 minutes left. Questions for us?
I'll start with you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh.
What do you least like about what you have to do here in regards to utilities?
So there's nothing I don't like. I think it's just the.
What challenge you?
Well, I was gonna say the challenges are just, like you said, it was like, for instance, the Taste of Water. We have a lot of different programs in place. We have a master plan in place to get to that point, but it takes time.
Right.
So that's always the hardest thing, is that people want to see like instant results in terms of, my water bill is now this amount. Why don't I see a taste or a difference in the taste or in the quality? So that's always the hardest thing to say, because it's a long-term project, and we're going to get there. This time next year, we're hoping that we have a pipe from Chatfield all the way to the Allen treatment plant. But we've been talking about this for 6-7 years now, and so that's always been the hardest part, is just those things. Obviously, there's a lot of people also that are cash, in terms of just like, we have people that have issues in terms of just paying their bills overall. And so that's always, that's the give and take that you have with this role, is that you just got to make sure we need to improve it, but we also need to understand what the financial impact are to families.
It's funny you talk about the taste, because when I get into my conversations as a former operator, I understand that why it tastes and why it changed, why it flips over. When you're dealing with surface water and trying to treat it, and it changes so differently from season to season. I don't know. It's easy for me to understand. I work really hard to explain to some people that how that occurs. So.
Ray, you have another minute, so if you want to put someone else under the microscope, up to you. So.
I know. Does anybody have any more questions for me? Did I I don't know if I answered everything correctly or just needed some more information on any of the questions.
I guess the only thing I would ask you is, would you be interested in any other boards outside of water and sewer, or are you just
I'd
based on
probably-
your expertise?
I mean, I could probably do something in maybe development. Because as my job now, I do both capital for the city and development. So I know a lot about development.
All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think a lot of the things that you brought up, those are definitely conversations that occurred in our water and sewer board. So yeah, that expertise should definitely be.
So can I ask a
go
question?
ahead.
How long have you lived in Inglewood?
I've lived in England since 2017.
Since 2017?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Ray. Well, with no further questions, we're going to deliberate tonight after tonight's interviews. We'll make final decisions next Tuesday night. And then at that point, sometime on Wednesday, you should hear from the city clerk's office about placement. We thank you for your time. Thank you very much for your willingness to get involved with the city.
Okay.
And we'll be in touch, Ray. So thank you so much.
All right. Very nice to meet you all.
Great to meet
Same
you.
here, thank you.
Hope to hear from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're right.
Good night. Take care.
All right, got Nicole and just one of the chairs back there. Oh, we had Nicole.
She already ran away from us. See?
I know. There's days I
We gotta stop being so regulated.
Nope, just one of the chairs in the back there. Yeah.
How you doing, Nicole?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for making time for us tonight.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course. Nicole, I am Nathaniel Sierra. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Nicole, we're going to ask you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask us anything that you would like. So, are you ready to start?
I think so.
All right, cool. So, Nicole, first question is from me. What motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I love how Inglewood is so open to having community members participate in the community. I feel like there's so many opportunities here between the surveys and asking about how to remodel the downtown. I feel like it's really great that everybody can have a chance to participate. So I'm really interested in transportation, and when I saw that there was an opening for that, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to help shape how people get around the city.
Cool. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Good evening, Nicole. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members, and I have a couple questions for you. First of all, what knowledge, skills, and or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
Sure. So I took the Inglewood citizen classes, and so I feel like I learned a lot during those classes just on what it takes to run a city, how zoning affects things, how buildings are approved and development companies, how all that kind of works. I got to touch on some of that. So I think I can bring some of that to the table. I'm also really involved in the community through different volunteer projects. So I hear a lot about, I'm in the community a lot and hear a lot of what families have to say and what people kind of want around the city. So I think I can bring that perspective as well.
Okay, great. And then my other question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Actually, the one of the classes that I did, that I have a great example of that. So we were to construct a city using Lego blocks, and we had a group with everybody. I think they went into like 4 different groups of the class, but the class had a very wide range of ages, a very wide range of people who had been in the city a long time, who had just joined, and just having everybody's opinions on what would make a functional city and what's important were very different. And we had to really talk that through and come up with a great plan that would work for everybody.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nicole. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member, and my question is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
I love that it is
small urban community. It's so, it has so many great urban vibes. The downtown, I feel like, is really great. There's so much access then to Denver, but there's this really great community here that's small and close-knit. I volunteer at the school. I also coach basketball. And I kind of do some other projects, and I get to see the same people over and over again, and I just feel like we're all really interconnected here, and it's just a really great feeling. Thank you.
Hi, Steve Ward, Council District 4. My question for you is what, if anything, would you like to see changed about the board that you applied for?
I think I would like to just see a little bit more, question. I did attend one of the meetings for the Transportation Board, and I feel like there could maybe be a little bit more done about going after projects. I think we had some questions asked for safety around the schools, and I think I was hoping there would be a little bit more aggressive about what they were going to do and applying for grants and things like that. I think it was like, well, we will maybe try this or we will maybe try that. I just feel like we didn't get a really great answer, and we had since followed up, and we didn't see the things that we were hoping for, that they kind of said that would go into the grant writing process. So I think just being a little more on top of getting the funding, or just being a little more aggressive on how we can progress things in the Transportation Board.
Great, thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for applying. I'm Chelsea Camp, District 2 City Council member. A couple questions for you tonight. Regular attendance at all of our board and commission meetings is required to be concerned about attending meetings as scheduled.
Yeah, I have a busy schedule, but this one I feel like is very accessible. And, yeah.
Okay. And then if you were to be appointed, how would service on this commission benefit you personally or professionally?
Yeah, transportation is something I'm really passionate about in the city. I think it would benefit me and my family in the way we get around. We really love to bike and walk, and I think that there's a lot of people in the city who really like that, and I want to keep it safe for bikers, walkers, and drivers. I think this community is growing so much with all the construction we're having, with all the apartments that are being built, and I think that we need to find safe ways for everybody to get around. That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Nicole, we still have just under 5 minutes. Any questions for us?
I talked fast because I was nervous. When would this position be appointed?
So we would make final decisions on next Tuesday night.
Oh.
So next Tuesday night, you'll hear from the city clerk maybe on Wednesday, and then the first meeting you would attend if you were selected would be in February.
In February, okay, so
Yeah.
it was pretty quick, okay.
Yeah.
And
Go
then,
ahead.
is there kind of just preparation for the meetings, like are things sent out to like before we have the meeting, what we're gonna be talking about so we can be prepared?
Yeah, so they'll send out a packet, usually maybe not a week in advance, maybe like 4 days in advance, where they'll provide you just everything that's gonna be covered, what the agenda is gonna be. The agenda gets set by the chair, and does work with staff, obviously, to make sure that that information is ready for the packet. So yeah, you'll get that in advance. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. But obviously, I used to serve as the liaison on ETAC, but now Joe does, and he couldn't make it tonight. But some boards do request, well, I think most boards do this, where they provide suggestions on what needs to be covered during the next meeting.
Okay.
So if there is something pressing that you want to discuss, that you talked about, like safe past schools, or what do we call it?
Safe routes.
Safe routes, yeah, safe routes to school. If there's something specific that you want to cover, then you would make that decision.
I got you. Okay.
Anything else, Nicole? Or?
I think so.
Perfect. All right. Well, Nicole, yeah, like I said, it's like you'll hear from us sometime next week. I thank you for your willingness to get involved. If there's any questions, I'll feel free to reach out to anybody from this council. But yeah, thank you very much. It's great to meet you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
I appreciate all your time.
Nice
Yeah,
to go.
thank you.
We got Larry, and if you just want to take one of the seats back there.
All right.
How you doing, Larry?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. time for us tonight?
Absolutely, thank you all.
Larry, I am Old Daniel Sierra. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city.
Okay.
Larry, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining, you'll feel free to ask us any questions that you happen to have of us. So,
Sounds good.
are you ready to begin, Larry?
I am.
Perfect. Well, Larry, my first question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I saw the opening. I just moved to Inglewood about a little over a year and almost going on 2 years.
Okay.
So I was in Centennial before, spent 10 years on a small water district there, East Valley Metro District. Was a president for about 9 of those years. So when I saw the opening, I thought, what a great way to contribute to the community. I moved into not too long ago, and yeah, so that's what motivated me.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Good evening, Larry. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions for you. The first one is, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board?
So as I just explained, I spent some time on a water board. Granted, it was a smaller one, but going through that process, you learn a lot about water systems, and I did that. Worked pretty tightly with the water manager, with the operator. Feel like I understand the theory, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get clean, safe water to customers. And that's really what it's all about. So there's a lot of things you have to do. I feel like I'm invested in something that I'm interested in, and I definitely was there. I like talking to customers. I like hearing what they have to say. I think feedback's a gift, right? I think that if you approach your job in this case that way, you can learn a lot. And I think I also have a lot to contribute. I'm a longtime resident of Colorado, born and raised, know the area. My dad spent about 35 years at Englewood Public Schools. Feel like I know this area. I've spent time in the gym with them. So I think I have a lot to offer as a community member.
Great.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past in which you worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Sure, and I'll make it pertinent. Worked with the East Valley Water District on rate hikes. Of course, nobody likes them. There's reasons you need them, and we needed it. We had to build a well, and it cost $650,000. And the only way to do that with 99 homes is to raise rates. And there were some board members that were not in favor of it, but having one deep well is not a recipe for success, right? In case that goes down. So spent a lot of time talking with our, and this includes a lot of different things, right? Working with our lawyer, working with the bank, working with the other board members to get everybody on the same page to convince, the opposers that this really was necessary, that we really couldn't afford to not have it. So did that. Secured financing, got the full buy-in from the board. The rate hikes were difficult to message, but it was necessary. And I think at the end of the day, we held meetings to answer questions and want to make sure everybody was understood the reasons for it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Larry. I'm Tina Pring.
Hi,
I'm
Tina.
also at-large council member.
Okay.
My question for you is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
I just love it. Like I said, my dad was here. When I moved from Centennial to Englewood, it felt comfortable. I know my neighbors. It's easy to talk to people. I love the dog park. I love walking along the Platte River. I like the ease of being able to get to and from where I want to go. I just think there's a lot of good people and great decision to move to Englewood as opposed to somewhere else. So, yeah, I just feel at home. That's what I like most about it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4, which I believe is your district. My question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see improved in Englewood regarding the board that you applied for?
On the board that I applied for, what would I like to see? That's a good question. I did watch the December meeting. I noticed there weren't as many public, it wasn't as much public there, but I get that from being on a board before. There's not a lot of reason to show up if you don't have a major complaint. Honestly, I don't know. I like the presentation of the meeting. Sometimes I didn't know who was talking during that meeting, and without, I haven't tracked it from meeting to meeting to meeting to know all the issues that have been discussed and decided. I don't know if I have a great answer for you on that one, Steve.
That's just fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Trustee Cam, District 2 City Council member. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Regular attendance and engagement at the meetings is required. Do you have any concern about attending the meetings as scheduled?
No.
And if you were to be appointed, how would service on this board benefit you personally or professionally?
Personally, it would give me fulfillment in giving back to Englewood. That's what I want to do. I see, like I kind of said before, I see a lot of great things in Englewood, and I want to be a contributing member to the community. And I think I can add some value there where maybe others might not be able to, given my experience. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Larry, we have about 3 minutes.
All right.
Any questions for us?
Let's see. No, I don't have any questions, just some comments. I do understand the billing and metering situation. I went through it a few years ago. It's not easy.
No, it hasn't been.
No, I totally get it. Swapping out old meters for new next generation stuff is not easy, and I'm sure there's been a lot of. I had the complaints, but I did hear that things are moving towards resolution, so that was always good to hear. I don't think I have any questions.
Perfect. Yeah. Anybody want to add a question or no? No, perfect. So Larry, thank you so much. We're going to deliberate tonight. This is the second night of 2 nights of interviews. We'll deliberate tonight. We'll make final placement a week from tonight.
Okay.
During our city council meeting. At that point, somebody on Wednesday from the city clerk's office will reach out to you about placement.
Okay.
But no, it was great to meet you. Thank you very much for making time and your willingness to serve, and welcome to Englewood.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Council. I appreciate it. Good luck too.
Thank you so much.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
We've got Dan.
How you doing,
Grab
Dan?
One of those seats back there.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for making time for us tonight, Dan. My name's Nathaniel Sear. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Dan, we're going to ask you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining, feel free to ask any questions of us. So, you ready to begin?
Sounds good.
Perfect. So Dan, my first question for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Englewood board at this time?
So I just, I've been here in Englewood for 6 years now. Raising my family here, we have 2 kids in school. And so just want to be able to participate in the city and just, kind of help where I can in the city to just, kind of make it the best Englewood that it can be.
Sounds good. And you're interested in ETAC, the Transportation Advisory?
Yes, correct.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Good evening, Dan. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members. I have 2 questions. First of all, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
Yeah, so I guess from my career, so I currently work in consulting, so on a lot of kind of involved with a lot of groups of people that bring their own diverse outlooks and opinions on, for me specifically with technology. And so it's kind of understanding all of those different viewpoints from all of those different people, and just kind of helping within that group to find the best options to be able to meet their needs. So I think I could bring that to the commission, understanding that there's different viewpoints for within transportation, and trying to find the best solutions there.
It's interesting, that leads into the next question.
Okay.
Can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Yeah, that's basically my everyday at work. So actually, I see the Salesforce.
Yeah, I was gonna ask,
So
yeah.
I do work with Salesforce Consulting. But yeah, it's I mean, even today, kind of working with different groups for kind of an implementation that we're doing. And there's, we're basically trying to kind of push something out, and it's understanding that, you know, we want to have kind of the best result to go out, and you know, listening to all of those groups of people, and but then also understanding that things take time, and you know, we need to make the product as best as possible for them.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. My question is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
Yeah, so I love, it's kind of a, I wouldn't call it a hidden gym, but it's definitely a gym within the area. It's such a small footprint, but we're part of kind of this larger community of the Denver you know, area. And it's just such a like a close-knit community. Like it's kind of crazy. Like we go to the library a lot. There's such great events there. There's so much community within the schools. My kids go to Clayton and Maddox, and there's just the community here is really great.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ward, I represent Council District 4, and my question for you is, tell us what, if anything, you would like to see improved about the Transportation Advisory Committee.
So I guess within just transportation in general, I mean, I do like the vision of Inglewood, which is to have just a safe, kind of safe modes of transportation and commuting within the city, whether it's driving, biking, public transit, walking. We as a family try to do that as much as possible, try to, on days that are nice, to be able to bike or walk our kids to school. So I think it would really just be advocating for those different modes of transportation and doing it in a way that is safe, but then also in ways that are, you know, financially responsible for the city.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tristan Unitiant, District 2 Council Member. A couple questions for you. Regular attendance and engagement at the meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about attending scheduled meetings? Great. And if you were to be appointed, how would this service benefit you, either personally or professionally?
Yeah, so I mean, one is it's just nice to be you know, part of the community and be able to advocate for my family, for my neighbors, and just for the city. It's really just a kind of a way to kind of network within the city as well. You know, you know, hopefully there's community engagement within the transportation board. I think my wife, myself, and a couple other families, we went to a meeting. It was about 6 months ago, and they said that we were like the first people that had gone to a meeting in a while. So it would be nice to kind of have you know, advocate for more community engagement there.
That's great.
Dan, how much time we got left? About 4 minutes left. Any questions for us?
I don't think so. Not really right now. I guess the only one would be I guess what would typically be the kind of turnaround for kind of deciding?
Oh, you're gonna know pretty quick. So we're gonna deliberate tonight. Final decision is gonna be next Tuesday night.
Okay.
During our council meeting, and then on Wednesday, you'll hear from the city clerk's office in terms of placement.
Okay.
So yeah, and then your first meeting will be in February. So ETech meets the second Thursday, so I guess they're meeting this Thursday.
Okay.
As well, but you'll miss that meeting, but it'll be for the February meeting. I was gonna ask, just this time around, we have a lot more applicants than open positions. Would you be open to any other commission or board?
To be honest, it would depend on how frequently they would meet.
They usually meet once a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
most are once a month, maybe once a quarter. The only ones that aren't like planning and zoning, they meet twice a month.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, they're just once a month or once a quarter.
I think it would depend on how frequently, just with a young family,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
tough to meet a lot.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Anything else?
I don't think so.
Cool. Well, Dan, it was great to meet you. Have we spoken before?
We have, so at
Okay, I was
the-
gonna say, I
at
was
the-
like, your name looks familiar.
At
so.
the bike to school day.
Earlier this year?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We met during
Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, Dan, it was great to meet you again. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. As I mentioned, we'll deliberate tonight and make a decision next week. So, yeah, great to meet you and have a good evening, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Thanks, Dan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Usually that's the answer I get is like, have I met you? It's like, yeah, we bike together. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out.
All right, we've got Nick.
Hi,
Trying to pick a seat back there.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, how are you all?
Doing well.
It's quite the round table.
Yeah, we're trying to intimidate you. The parking lot. Nick, I'm Nathaniel Sarah, council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Nick, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time left over, feel free to ask any questions of us. So,
Okay, sure.
are you ready to begin?
I imagine so. Thanks for being
All
here.
right. Nick, my first question for you is what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time listed Parks and Rec?
Sure. So specifically, I've lived in Inglewood off and on for 5.5 years now, a Colorado resident going on 10. And since living in Inglewood specifically, I've been fortunate enough to be on the receiving end of a variety of different wonderful local programs. More specifically to Parks and Rec Commission, I have a passion for the accessibility that we're really striving for here in the community for our parks. I'm proud of this bond that recently passed and wanting to see this money allocated and planned for to the benefit of all citizens.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man.
Good evening, Nick. I'm Rita Russell.
Hi.
I'm one of the at-large council members. It's nice to have you here this evening, and I have a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
Yeah, of course. So in my day job, I actually work for the federal government. I work as a strategic planning analyst for the Bureau of Diplomatic Security, which sits within the United States State Department. So I work in the protection of embassies and consulates around the world. And specifically, I work in strategic planning. So goal setting, milestones, indicators, any sorts of performance metrics over a multi-year plan. So taking this recent bond, for example, with all these different projects, ideally building out a multi-year vision of what we want for our parks and rec across the city, and taking that end state and making it into these minute performance metrics that we could track quarter over quarter, ideally.
Great. And then my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing viewpoints or perspectives?
Sure, of course. I actually lead a lot of working groups in my day job. In fact, had one this morning as an example. As you can imagine, with changeover in any sort of administration at the federal level, that drives a lot of different vision setting. For the last 2 years, I've worked on trying to draft a strategic plan for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, not only at our bureau, but across the State Department as well, which is 80,000 people. You can imagine a lot of concern or questions that might be coming up with a return of a previous administration. So what do you do when you're responsible for helping draft a vision that may or may not be in existence here in a few weeks? And even if it isn't, what can we do? What changes have we made in the last 4 years that we can be proud of and hopefully submit? So when it comes to working with people with different viewpoints on something as broad, if you will, as DEIA, you have to be able to, continue working regardless of what might change. We can't impact what's going to happen to us, but we can continue on in the plan that we set out. And additionally, fielding different viewpoints is absolutely imperative. When you think of a city like Inglewood with a variety of different types of citizens, we know that we're going to have people that maybe are really excited about a bond and some that aren't so much. I think it passed by roughly 300 votes. That means only 300 people swayed a decision that really is going to drive a lot of change here in Inglewood as well as the Parks and Rec. But a lot of people are upset about it too. So how do you manage? And I think that just starts with listening, caring about individuals' opinions, and making change where we can.
Okay, perfect. I just have a quick question. Sure. Do you travel a lot?
I travel to DC quarterly for a week, and I've traveled once internationally for my job in the last 5 years, and that was for 5 weeks this past March. There's nothing coming up anytime soon.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Good evening, Nick. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. My question is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
What do I love most about Inglewood? I'm from a town of less than 4,000 people in Alabama originally, and I moved to Denver because the same reason everyone else seems to move to Denver, for the mountains, for the skiing, for the rock climbing, for the fresh air, and grad school actually. Inglewood feels more like a home than major at-larger cities have for me personally. I feel like I've had the opportunity to meet Steve before at a block party, and he doesn't remember me, but I remember him. But I bet the next time I see him at a block party, he'll remember me. And I don't expect that from a larger city council, but there's something about home that I feel in Inglewood, even however many 1,000+ miles away.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, I was thrown off a little bit. Thanks, it's one of my flaws as a politician. I can't count the number of flaws I
We all
have as
have
a
areas
politician
of
on both hands. But, I have one self-indulgent question. Do you travel on a diplomatic passport, or do you get to?
Yes.
Okay, I just had to ask.
It's black.
Related to the job at hand, what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the board that you applied for?
Yeah, I actually tried to draft up some notes for that when it comes to improvement before I got here. I played tennis on most of the courts in the park, and they're all pretty good shape. I know after reviewing some of the planned projects for the city and individual parks, I think we're kind of working toward a lot of great things. And so if anything, I just want to help maintain and continue a lot of the planned improvements. General ideas, I mean, accessibility is really important to me. I come from a family that works a lot in the ADA space and special needs, so I know that we're working on getting like wheelchair accessible swings and those types of things. So I'm excited about that. I know how important clean water is to our city, and we have parks where the river runs through, and we're doing a good job, it seems like, trying to make sure those are up to quota, if you will, or stuff. So if anything, it's more just come in and be a help where I can. There's not like one specific vision that I have, because I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Newton-Camp. I'm your city council person.
Yes, you are.
Too. It's so wonderful to meet you in person. I have a couple questions for you. One, regular attendance and engagement in the meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about attending the monthly meetings?
Nope.
Fantastic. And if you were to be appointed, how would the service benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Say that one more time.
If you were to be appointed, how would this benefit you personally or professionally?
Oh, I haven't really thought about how it would benefit me, honestly, aside from maybe a net at a tennis court or something. But, I guess too, it gets to put my day job into an immediate focus. I'm a really small cog in a really big machine. I know that my job at the federal level is important and that it has a large impact in security and stuff around the world. But my ability to work on strategic planning is not something I do in my daily life. And this is something I can see the tangible benefits of, whether it's park restorations or anything like that. So I guess that's how I would benefit from it.
That's a great answer. Thank you for playing.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Nick, we got 2 minutes. Any questions for us?
Sure. So I'm sure some of the bond allocation as far as dollars go can't be exact from what I found on the internet in my Google search. But that being said, it seems like $33.3 million is allocated pretty well for the public to see. But that leaves about $8 million. So is that for ancillary projects? I noticed too that 85% of the work had to be completed within 3 years. So maybe that's to support that last $8 million. Or did I just miss it and not do the greatest math?
It's probably us with the math.
It could have been the math, just because I know that when we had the discussion about what to bring back to the voters, we did have line item for just everything that we wanted to see as part of the parks. Which obviously led to a lot of discussion from the neighborhoods about what they wanted to see, what's being left out,
Sure.
that type of thing. So it might just have been a math problem, or it could have just been that not everything was on the website that you were looking for. So it could have been that regard, but yeah, we went into the details to try to identify what the final scope was gonna look like.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to hear, but I didn't know if maybe the remaining was planned for anything that pops up, if you will, out of the project.
Kinda like
Oh,
a
this is actually gonna cost an
contingency,
extra
that type of
10
thing.
grand or what
Yeah.
have you there, which seems inevitable, but.
We wouldn't want to budget 100% of it because we don't know what the inflationary environment's going to be, first of all, and also there's sometimes a buffer in there for cost overruns or a contingency, so that's probably part of that $8 million, if I had to guess.
I would think so too, especially because that number does hit the 85% threshold without problems. The other one is, so if all projects have to be completed within 3 years, I imagine that not only are they already planned out and ideally finishing by 28, but what's the overflow like? On time. I know you've got a lot more interviews.
Yeah, we have more, but to answer your question, yes, so a lot of them are like in those final, they're in different stages, but a lot of the parks have already been kind of conceptually, the design, that type of thing. So that's all gonna be coming in front of the Parks and Rec Board as well as just the city overall, constituents, to kind of decide the final makeup of what this is gonna look like. So, so that's gonna be coming up soon. But Nick, thank you so much. So a little bit of information, we'll do deliberations tonight.
Okay.
Next Tuesday night, we will make a final decision in terms of placement. And then on Wednesday, you should hear back from our city clerk's department about future placement, or your actual placement. And then February would be your first meeting if you were to get chosen. But
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
yeah,
Appreciate
good to
your
meet you,
time.
Nick. Thank you so much, man.
Y'all have a good night.
Nice to meet you.
Enjoy the marathon. Hopefully you're almost done.
That it is.
It usually takes me 3 or 4 times, but I'm taking it.
Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're gonna be on break for, I think, at least 10 minutes, maybe 20, depending on whether.
All right, so Christina
Christina?
wrapped up, but I mean, you guys can take your break now.
So she's not gonna be here, right?
No, she said she's got different, yeah. So if you take your break now, then we already have Dan and Jan here, so I guess you can take you're ahead of the game.
I need
Do we
to
wanna take a 10-minute?
Yeah,
You
can
wanna
we
take
do that?
10?
Yeah, let's take a 10-minute break.
And then we'll have, yeah, go ahead.
We'll start at 6:45.
Okay. If you can fill water up, I can show you where the water jugs are. Yep, I'll come get mail too. Oh, yeah.
Veterans. And
Yeah.
flew over the VFW for this veteran celebration and walked over to this lady and I introduced myself and she goes, I know who you are. I've seen you all the time. And I said, but I don't know who you are. Would you please tell me?
Well, did she see you on TV?
Right. Oh, when we were campaigning the last time, the very last door I knocked on this one night and she didn't answer. And so I'm going to get back in my car. It's in front of her house and all of a sudden she comes running out the door, and so I get back out of the car and I go, my name is Rita Russell. She goes, I know who you are. I see you on TV all the time. Infamous, maybe.
Yeah. That's great though.
So,
Watching.
yeah, so.
I want to hear more about this diplomatic passport.
I know, I do too.
It's a black.
Steve cannot help himself. It's so funny.
Like, does that, is it a free pass? Like, does that mean he can, you commit a crime in another country and then?
Probably not.
Prosecution?
Probably
What
not.
all does this entail? Totally bypass security?
His resume says he has top secret security clearance.
Oh. So walk laps.
Walk laps
4 laps is.
around the whole thing?
1,000 steps.
Did you get your steps in?
I did this morning.
How many steps is it?
4,000 if you walk 4 laps up the stairs. Yeah, I get mine before I get to work. If I don't.
I was gonna say, doing that like so many times, it would drive me crazy.
The meter mail is in Kristen's office, if anybody wants to pick up their mail. Or not. We will be there Tuesday.
We all have
It's coming to you
Saturday.
Tuesday. so
Oh,
you can
is
do
that
it
your
early.
mail?
Yeah.
Is that your mail?
Oh, you know what, I can't.
But a lot of it's,
Forwarding,
What is
just
that?
FYI.
a lot of it's FYI, so.
Oh, is it the budget?
Plan stuff, so.
Is it live?
Yes. Well, no,
Budget,
it's not
yes.
live, but
Revenue
I'll put it up tomorrow,
manual,
but don't.
capital improvement plan.
Cause I, stuff not about it.
Once a year, I have a Tuesday meeting. Everybody wants to talk to me today. My father-in-law called, he never calls.
Were you jealous of his passport?
Very diplomatic community in any country in the world.
So he can't
Yes,
commit
please.
crimes in other countries.
Yeah, usually you get booted and you might get prosecuted in your own country, but
But not in that country.
not according to the treaty that the countries have with each other, but
As
It
soon
would
as
be-
you brought that up.
you wouldn't have much of a future in the State Department if you went around, you know, pillaging in other foreign countries on your diplomatic passport.
You guys heard that.
Pretty hard not to
We
like.
are still
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
It's still
Got
recording.
it. Got it.
Just- Goodness. You know, well, so we're sandwiches out there, good. Should have get pickles. I forgot Chili John's known for the pickles, aren't they? I thought they were known for the pickles.
Saying put those in there.
Got gigantic
Well,
pickles.
Adriana's learning. She's taking over the food, so she has to figure out.
All I'm saying
Yay, we're-
is steps that I do.
I have half of it. I've done my weight watchers.
You're never cold.
Today. Sometimes I have to get to my son's wedding next Saturday, and I'm just gonna, I want on Sunday. So, yeah. That's a lot.
Good be celebrating.
It's the last one. They're all married, they're all on payroll. Free. What time did we say, 7:40 something?
45.
Okay.
You know, I used to know a state representative, and every time I would meet him at town halls or other events, he would ask me what my name was. And it annoyed me more and more each time it happened. And so I don't ask people what their name is when I see them.
That's a strategy.
I tend to act like I know people whether I do or not, just in case I have met them before. And so some people probably think I'm just overly friendly, but I'd rather them think that about me than that I just did it.
The one that also irritates me is when I go to a restaurant where I'm a regular customer and the first question the server asks me is, have you been here before? I hate that question.
What do you like, Steve?
I like you okay most of the days. Sunshine, puppies, children. Chocolate.
It's a good list.
What would you like best about Inglewood?
Oh my.
I was kind of curious how Steve answered these questions back. It was
Right.
on BAC.
My first board that I interviewed for was liquor board.
The what board?
And
Liquor?
Liquor board.
Did you get on it?
Yeah, I was appointed. It was the first year I lived here. I served for 2 years. And that was the old council. That was Jill Wilson. I think Jim was on that council. Bob McCaslin, Randy Penn, Rick Gillett.
Joe Jefferson.
Maybe.
I think Joe and Rick got on about the
That
same
seems
time.
Yeah.
about the right prime time.
Yeah, I'm forgetting one or two, but yeah. It was, Linda. Linda was on that council.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think I got all of them. But it was a really intimidating process as a first year resident walking into this room, and the body was it was a slightly different
Kinda like
setup.
this?
They were all kind of facing me.
Yeah, there was a table right
Yeah.
there and then chairs there. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember it well. It was interesting. Yeah, 2 years on liquor board. Dugan Comer was our council. And then BAC.
Yeah. I always figured it's intimidating coming into like a room like this, or even like the dice when you walk into our meeting.
Got Dan.
To answer the original question,
See at the back row there.
pretty much everything everybody's already said.
How you doing, Dan?
Is on that list.
Thanks for making time for us tonight.
Of course.
All right, Dan. So I am Old Daniels here. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Dan, we're going to ask you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask any questions of us. So, are you ready to begin?
Yeah, you bet.
Cool. So Dan, my first question for you is what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time? DDA.
Yeah, so I am the Chief Financial Officer at Craig Hospital, and I like to think that we're an important member of the community, an anchor institution, and I would love to be able to continue the great work that the DDA and the city are doing in terms of being sort of a recognized leader in accessibility in the city and inclusive design. I think that we've had really good relationships with the city. We're partnering on an outdoor garden, a community garden in the Wellness District that the DDA has actually sent us some grant funds for. My background as an accountant, working in the finance field, I think that I can add an element of business acumen. I understand the fiduciary obligations of these types of positions and would just like to continue the great work. I mean, I've seen so many great things happen, from the development of the DDA to now, and from, a perspective of an organization that works with people with different abilities, disabilities, different levels of mobility, and seeing how the city has really grown, accepted them, welcomed them, really fits well with our mission. So I have worked, I came to Denver from Longmont, and I was on the Longmont Area Chamber of Commerce, and we worked very closely with the LDDA. I was not on the DDA board, but I'm familiar with the function, and just looking for a great opportunity to help you all direct some of the great work that's happening here.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Dan.
Good evening, Dan. I'm Rita Russell, one of the at-large council members. It's nice to have you here this evening, and I have a couple of questions. The first one is, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board?
Oh, great. Well, I think I probably said some of this in response to the first question, but I've got 35 plus years of accounting and finance background, working with large, complex organizations. And so I believe that that experience can only help the DDA navigate the next phase of its growth and its engagement with the community. And so I think that, you know, working for an organization that is one of the largest employers in Inglewood also brings sort of a level of commitment and investment in this community. We are what I believe is a really important member of the community, and I want to see ways that we can really work together to help advance our causes. I'm sorry, what was your last question?
That was part of the first one. And so my last question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Oh, wow. So for that, I guess I will go to one of my board services. I am on the board for a couple of different community organizations, the first of which is the Denver Young Artists Organization. And the second is the Brain Injury Alliance of Colorado. And I think the Brain Injury Alliance in particular, we all want the same thing. We want to provide wraparound services and assistance for members of the community that have either acquired or traumatic brain injuries. But there are some very different ways and different opinions about the ways that we should accomplish that. We have some folks on the board who are very focused on really case management and supportive services. We've got some folks on the board who are very focused on engaging governments in terms of ways that they can provide grant funding for these. And one of the challenges is that sometimes there are views that they think are opposing, when the reality is, because we want all the same things, we have to find a way to bridge that gap. We have to find a way to cross the aisle, if you will, and compromise on different ways to accomplish different things. And I think we were very successful in doing that in a project that's located on the Colfax corridor called Valor on the Facts, which is housing and wraparound supportive services for members of the community that have brain injuries. It wasn't exactly what either side was really intending, and yet I think they struck a really nice compromise in terms of providing the right services for the funds that were available to them. So because I'm not in any one of those corners, I thought I could help them sort of meet in the middle a little bit.
Right, great. Thank you so much.
Good evening, I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. My question is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
Well, that's great. I actually grew up in 80111, although technically wasn't in Inglewood proper. But I dropped a lot of coins when I was a teenager in Cinder Alley. I'm really invested in the history of this community. I mean, it has so much going for it in terms of, having these cute little neighborhoods, these great shopping districts, these great restaurants, and you've got development that, there's varying opinions about the pace of development and the type of development, and yet it's a great opportunity to really bring more people in to see this type of a community. We've got the wellness district right down the street with 2 world-class hospitals, and I believe that the city has integrated all of those different neighborhoods really effectively, including the wellness district. And I would just like to see that continue to happen. You know, some of the things that are happening on South Broadway are really exciting. Like I said, I came from Longmont, who had sort of a revitalization of their downtown area as well. And to see it bloom is just so exciting. And this is blooming already. I don't want to imply that it needs work, but I would love to see it continue to progress.
Good answer, thank you. Come to public comment and say some of those.
Hi Dan, I'm Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4, which is in Southwest Inglewood. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the EDDA?
You know, I would like to help them raise the kind of funds to do some really exciting new projects in the downtown area. It feels a little bit like they're so close to doing some of the things that that can be dreamed about, really, if we had the right kind of funding, if we had the right kind of commitment from the community. What specifically would I do? I don't really have any specific ideas. It just feels like we're on the precipice of something really exciting, and I'd like to be a part of it, honestly. And once again, I apologize for referring to my past, but we saw this in the last community that I was in, and it was making slow and steady progress. And then once the DDA really got its feet under it, you started to see some dramatic things happen, some really exciting things that generated a lot of enthusiasm and brought not only community members from the community that they lived in, but also people from outside the community. I would love to see people from outside Englewood come here and just see what a really amazing and cute place it is. I mean, there's just, it's a draw, and I don't think people know about it as much. But once you start doing things on a slightly larger scale, you create buzz and you create energy. And I'd love to be a part of it.
Thank you.
90 seconds.
Sorry.
Council Union Camp, the District 2 representative, where Craig is located. Regular attendance at all the meetings is important. Do you have any concerns about your ability to attend the meetings?
I don't. I don't have a lot of after-hours meetings. My kids are grown and out of the house. My wife is pretty independent, so no, not at all.
And the DDA meets during the day, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know that.
4:30. 4:30 to 9:30.
Not a problem. And Diane Reinhardt, who's on the board right now, she keeps similar schedules to me, so. Yeah.
Wonderful relationship with Dan. And if you were to be appointed, how would this service benefit you personally or professionally?
Well, you know, I think one of the ways that I need to sort of pay back to the community is by participating in volunteer boards. I mentioned the other two that I'm on, and I have free time, and I don't have all that many of those. So one of the ways that I get satisfaction is by giving back and participating in these types of nonprofits and government agencies that really just need assistance, and they need, you know, just help and boots on the ground.
Great, thanks.
Dan, do you have any questions for us? You've got about 15 seconds.
I don't. Diane has told me so much about it, and I'm just really looking forward to the opportunity if you'll give it to me.
Perfect. Well, Dan, thank you so much. It was great to meet you. We're going to make a preliminary decision tonight, but we'll make the ultimate decision next Tuesday night when we have a full council. You'll hear from the city clerk's office possibly on Wednesday of next week about placement, and then you do get selected for the DDA. Your first meeting will be in February. So,
Fantastic.
Dan, it was great to meet you.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you
for
very
your time.
Good night.
All right, Jan, go ahead and just grab a seat on one of those back there.
Okay.
Hi, Jan.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Jan, thanks for making time for us tonight.
Oh, well, thank you all for making time for me.
Of course. Well, Jay, you know who I am, so I won't go through my introduction, but Jan, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. If there's any time remaining at the end, feel free to ask any questions of us. So,
Okay,
are you ready to begin?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So, Jan, my first question for you is what motivates you to apply for the Inglewood board?
Well, I'm extremely, you all know I'm involved in paying attention to Inglewood politics, but I'm extremely interested in elections and that they're
I think there are things I would be helpful with, so I applied specifically for the election commission.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thanks, Daniel.
Hi, Jen. It's good to see you. I have a couple questions for you. The first one is, what knowledge, skills, or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
Okay. So the skills I have, my which I don't know that this is specifically apropos, but I retired as controller of a large nonprofit with over 450 employees. So even though that in and of itself, the financial end is election related, the skills I learned there about auditing, about making sure things are in place. One of the things that happened in two of the last elections, I think two of the last three elections, was that the borders, there were people voting in districts they didn't belong. And I believe I could help put processes in place where the election commission could help watch over those things. And right now the election commission isn't used for much. And so I think those are the kinds of things I could help. I also believe the election commission could be used throughout the year, maybe not every month or every project, but I think there are things they could do to help take some burden off of Stephanie Carlisle's work. Did I answer both questions?
Yes. And the next question that I have for you is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Well, because I'm involved in politics, there are always people with opposing views. And I will say that if you can communicate with people, which doesn't always happen in city council, it's usually one view and then the other view, and you never get to discuss things, you don't have good communication. And so in politics, it's rare that you can always come to an exact agreement on things, but if you can communicate and discuss things, you can at least understand each other's point of views if you don't get into a power play.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good evening, good to see you.
Hi, Tina.
I have a fun question for you. What do you like most about Inglewood?
I'm sorry?
What do you like most about Inglewood?
About, I'm sorry.
Inglewood?
Oh, Inglewood, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
What do you like most about what?
I have the same issue, so.
Inglewood. Well, I grew up we moved here when I was 4. And so I've lived in Inglewood virtually my whole memorable life. I lived out of town for a while, but it's home to me. And so I like that it's a smaller town. I like that there's history here.
Thank you.
Hi, Jen. What, if anything, would you like to see changed about the Elections Commission?
Well, I've talked about part of that. As I said, I don't think it's utilized well. And I don't think the Election Commission is called at, very few times. And if I could change something, I would say it needs to meet every so often so that things could be looked at on an ongoing basis, not just, now it's election time, what are we going to do? And I think that's important. I know that the ranked choice voting issue is coming up, and I think the Election Commission should be involved in helping to bring people in to discuss both sides of the issue, not just that it's one-sided with people chosen by council. And so I think they just should be involved on a broader basis for things that affect elections, potentially look at the bylaws. I think the bylaws really need to be looked at because there's not much there. And to, look at those kinds of things.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Jan.
Hi,
I have a
Chelsea.
couple questions for you. regular attendance and engagement and board and commissions is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings?
Yes, yes, I don't see any conflict with anything I have at this point in my life.
Wonderful. And how will your service on this board commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Well, professionally, I'm not looking for future offices, so professionally, I don't see that it's something, I do think, for me as an individual, knowing that I've made a positive change in something is one of my goals in life. If I can make positive changes somewhere that help people, so I look at this as helping the clerk position. I don't look at it as we're gonna come in and take control. It's helping processes. And so to me, that's a personal goal in my life, whether it's the commission or individuals. I like to help get people, you teach them how to fish, you don't just give them a fish kind of thing.
Oh, that's great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jan, we have about 3 minutes left. Do you have any questions for us?
So, let me think if I have any questions. So one of the questions I have is I understood that when I applied for this, that there was an open position, but since then, the person that was on the board is wanting to come back.
Yeah,
Is
that's correct. It looked like there was a reappointment. And so there's only that one regular member. So yeah, it looks like the person did request reappointment.
And the other question I have with that, are there, and I can't think what the name is, are there positions that are like a commissioner, a commission person that would be a backup?
Like an alternate?
An alternate, thank you.
Yeah, so no, because the election commission falls under our charter and our charter doesn't specify that there's an
Okay.
alternate. So,
Okay,
so yeah, unfortunately there isn't. I wish there was for all boards, but not
Okay.
this one.
okay. I mean, it doesn't sound like the position is really there, so.
Right, so, yeah, that's obviously a discussion that we'll have at the end of tonight, was whether or not to allow for the reappointments to take that seat. So it hasn't been decided yet, but obviously we'll be deciding that Tuesday night next week. We'll have a discussion tonight, but we'll make the ultimate decision during city council.
So it still is possible I could be appointed.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or it's possible, is there any other boards you might
Yes.
be willing to sit on?
I might be willing on other boards. I didn't really look at them because it was the election commission that I was mostly interested in. If my background is a good fit for something, then I'm happy to look at other positions.
Okay.
Perfect. Anything else, Chan?
No, except thank you all for being
Yeah.
here. This is nice because it doesn't feel adversarial at all. And
No, we're not.
I
That's
appreciate
good to
that
hear.
so much. It's good to see you all on a kind of even.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jan, it's good to see you tonight. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve, and yeah, have a great evening. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you all for doing what you do.
Thank you, Jan.
Bye.
How do I get it out of this mode where it's like 2 Word documents next to each other? I just want a single page. Any idea? Oh, look at that. That's what it was.
Oh,
So, no, that's it. Okay, it was just zoomed out.
I definitely,
You got it.
it's going to take a seat back.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Get in the screaming chair.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing, Lee?
Very good, how are you?
Doing well. Sorry, I was just getting computer help there. So.
Right,
Sorry
we all
about
need that.
There we go. Lee, thank you so much for making time for us tonight. My name's Nathaniel Sear. I'm a council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city.
Okay.
Lee, we're going to be asking you, well, I haven't turned off the timer for the last person.
Put my answers in there then.
Yeah, just add them in. We'll be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining at the end of those 7 questions, then feel free to ask any questions of us. So,
Fair enough.
You ready to begin?
Certainly.
Perfect. All right, Lee, so my first question for you is what motivates you to apply for any Wood Board at this time?
Well, I was asked by Shelley and Nancy to
apply.
Okay. Perfect, and that's for Mally?
Right.
Perfect. Thank you, Lee.
Good evening, Lee. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members. And I have a couple questions. First of all, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
I've been a resident for 42 years, president of what's incorporated as Viking Television, Sales and Service, doing business as Viking Technical Services. I have a degree in accounting, degree in finance. I'm the president of our HOA board, and I go to the Mally Center. So.
Perfect. So, my next question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Well, I'm the HOA board president, so that kind of finds me. I wouldn't say it's actually diverse, however. I worked at an Indian reservation, which has quite a diversity of problems.
Right. Thank you.
Good evening, Lee. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also one of the at-large council members, and my question is, what do you love most about Inglewood?
I have 3 kids born and raised here. They all flourished in Inglewood schools. They were athletes and they thrived here. It's a little bit of small town in the metro, so that's what I appreciate. No plans on moving.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Steve Ward, I represent Council District 4. My question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see changed about the board that you applied for?
I frankly don't have a lot of knowledge about the inner workings of the board. I do know a couple of the guys on the board, and I work well with them. I'm not seeing a problem that I would address there, so I would hope to augment their skills, but as far as changing anything, probably not.
Sounds great.
Know of.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Nevenkamp. I'm your city council person in District 2.
Good, thank you.
I've got a couple questions for you. Regular attendance and engagement at the meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about attending the meetings? No. And then how would service on this board benefit you personally or professionally?
Probably wouldn't, frankly. I'm not looking for any avenues to advance anything I'm doing, frankly. I just thought I would maybe fit in.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Lee, we have some time left, a little bit over 6 minutes. Do you have any questions for us?
Not so much. I guess I would be interested to sit up or to kind of be the fly on the wall on one of these board meetings there. And I don't anticipate any problems. I think the guys that I know that are on there, they don't highlight any issues that I would have.
Do we have a liaison for Mally?
It's Kim.
It's Kim, okay.
I was liaison before.
Yeah.
To the Mally Center. It's changed quite a bit. I know some of the people on the board.
Okay.
So, and I think they make decisions about, they have a trust fund.
Right.
And actually, when I was on the board, they worked on growing that trust fund and, you know, putting word out for people that might consider donating that in their will. And I think we've gotten a couple of large donations from that. So I think they oversee that, the finances there.
Right.
So.
Finances and any future projects, right?
Right, any future projects. They also looked at, you know, when the Mally Center needed some things. I think
The
staff.
clock, the scoreboard,
Yeah, things like that.
player piano.
Mhm. Well, now, did they just get that recently?
No, it's been around a
Or
while.
that's- that
I
would
think
be
it's
weird.
recently not working, however.
Oh, okay. So do you want the piano to work?
Personally, I don't care.
Okay.
I like the old kind. It's a player piano, but it
Right.
still works as a manual mechanical piano.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions for us, Lee?
Not that I know.
All right. So Lee, we have a few more interviews tonight. We'll have a brief deliberation tonight, but we'll make final decisions a week from tonight.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, you should hear from the city clerk in terms of future placement, and if you do get selected, your first meeting will be in February. So.
Sounds good.
All right, Lee.
All right.
Well, it's great to
Thank you.
meet you. Thank you very much for making
Thank you.
time for us.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure doing this, it's gotta be long days.
Just these two.
Okay.
So-
Have a good night.
Our next one's not here yet, so.
Jana?
Jana.
So you've Okay.
got 5 minutes if you need to.
Okay. We'll just wait.
Well, I used GoodRx today and saved $100.
Wow.
You know, the city's, our insurance coverage is pretty much you're just cash pay. And so my doctor called in the generic prescription and I put it into GoodRx and a coupon on GoodRx was for the name brand for half price.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I called Walgreens and I said, can I transfer it to the actual name brand? And I have this coupon. She said, yep.
Wow.
Wow.
I know.
I always forget to use that.
What is GoodRx?
It's like a website, right?
It's like coupons for pharmacy from what I can tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a website. You sign up for free.
That's one of the great things about Front Range, is they'll check the discount programs for you.
It's also just a delight to go in there. It smells incredible. It's like my favorite place in England.
There's a zillion.
The pharmacy?
Yes, there's like snacks and treats and gifts. It's so nice
I
in
do
there.
like going in there, yeah.
It smells so good. One time I asked them, I was like, how do I get my house to smell like this? They have like a special diffuser. It's fancy.
Did they give you an answer? They did give you an answer? You never go in there?
No.
For range? No, I like it.
They're so great. You don't have that stupid Walgreens line or King Soopers line.
Never go to Walgreens again.
Yeah.
Well, I kept getting emails, like, your Walgreens is closed. And then it said I had a problem with my insurance. And I was like, I don't, like, Kaiser does not even provide insurance for you. What do you tell me? So I got like 6 emails over the course of a week that it wasn't ready. I had a problem with insurance. They were closed. So
Well, it's just cool too because, yeah, Michael's great, so.
Yeah.
They're right behind the Grand.
Yeah.
okay.
They're close by.
Debbie had to buy, she takes a number of prescriptions, and at Front Range, they would make day packs. So she would get one set for the morning and one set for the night. And they'd pack them automatically for her, just as part of the service that they provide.
Yeah.
And we're switching to the city's health insurance plan now, and she had to like buy pill containers from Amazon. She's gonna have to do all that manually because it's not a service that Kaiser provides.
Well, see, we just choose to go outside of Kaiser because it's so, like, I'm on the high premium plan, or
Yeah.
0 premium high deductible
Yeah.
plan. And it's just so frustrating to try to get in and then get a referral. I just go to the doctor I want, I pay cash, I get the prescription, I pay cash for that, and I just treat it like things are medical.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, that would be nice, but, you know, if we had to pay cash for her prescriptions the first month, it would probably be well over $1,000.
Well, and we don't have anything regular that we have to go to.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my foot hurts, I want to go to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah.
That means I call who I want.
Yeah. Yeah, we were on Kaiser before, we were both state employees. And then we switched to United. Then we were on her health insurer last year. Now we're back to Kaiser.
need to turn these off.
Well, we ran the numbers, because my husband has 4 options, and then we have something like 4 options. And even with us cash paying where we wanted last year, it was still less than if we would have done a premium plan with
Okay.
either one of our.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, if you have generally low costs, it's great, but
yeah.
with the number of medications that she takes and types of medications that I take, the pharmacy costs in particular would be just through the roof.
Pharmacy is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm loving it right now.
Yeah.
Not that I'd like to have to take it.
Yeah.
Wait, we're ahead of schedule by 13 minutes. If Jana's not here, well, she's here now. Yeah, so I'm assuming there's no one outside right now, I guess it's. So why is, oh, okay, because he shows up as William Peterson here.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like,
are
did
you-
I miss an application?
Or wait, is he talking to the right person? Right, he just made this poor man named William and he's just not correcting him.
That would have been even funnier than I met Ward and he doesn't remember me.
Yeah, this is
It's like-
difficult.
It's like Clint Eastwood said, man's got to know his limitations.
Is there anything more I can keep?
I'm getting tired.
I did talk to
One
him
more
just a
hour.
little bit before I left this afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay overall?
Well,
Like getting the sense
Oh, a
that-
diplomatic passport does not provide diplomatic immunity.
Oh, giving us false information, Steve.
Yeah, I thought it did. Why would you call it a diplomatic passport if you didn't get diplomatic immunity?
Is it like the ultimate global entry, you just get better treatment?
It's free. I think that's one of the big,
It's not that
and
big
then,
of a
I mean,
deal.
if you go to customs and you have
Yeah.
like a,
but doesn't mean he's not.
federal employee passport.
Well,
I haven't really talked to
that
him.
all easier to
special
get
one
through.
really,
Oh, yeah.
you get
Said you don't
lifelong
need a
problem.
visa.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
You
Okay.
need a visa and your family gets it too.
Oh, no way.
So if they're, when you're traveling.
Wow.
We've been researching diplomatic passports.
So the visa, not needing a visa, that's big, because those are expensive.
Diplomatic agents and members of their immediate families are immune. I'm under administrative and
What does it
technical
mean?
staff.
I think that Steve is looking for a new job.
I know, I was like, are you gonna select this guy so you can? Actually, he'd be a great choice, I think.
Just, I don't know, it's always been fascinating to me, the concept. In New York, they had all kinds of parking problems because the diplomats would never pay their parking tickets because they couldn't be required to and they couldn't tow their vehicles. So they would just park wherever they wanted.
In Denver?
In New York.
Oh, in New York.
That's just abuse.
In Colorado, they issue consular plates. I know that because I worked in a building downtown and there were 2 signs. One of them was like Mongolian embassy parking only. And if the car was there, it had license plates on it that said like consular plate.
We didn't have Jana yet, but we have Michael, so I think we'll just.
That works,
There we
yeah.
go. Good, Michael, go ahead and take a seat back there.
How you doing, Michael? Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for making time for us.
Of course, thank you.
So Michael, I am Othaniel Sierra. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city.
Yes.
Michael, we're gonna be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. If there's any time remaining at the end of that, you can ask any questions of us, so.
Okay.
Cool, are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am.
Kind of have you rest there, huh? Perfect, so here's my first question. What motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I bought a house in District 1 in 2021. And I think that I want to start getting involved just in trying to
learn like how neighborhoods in a city is managed and what I can do to influence improvements specifically in my neighborhood. But then I think you have to learn the city as a whole, because resources have to go everywhere.
Not just your neighborhood. Right.
And that's really like the motivation. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be here for 30 years. Like let me start getting involved and try and see what I can do to make the next 27 years now better for myself and neighbors.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah.
Good evening, Michael. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members, and I have a couple questions for you. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission?
I think that I'm a pragmatic person and a good listener. Someone who is willing to learn from anyone who's more experienced than I am, and not afraid to take input and then still give opinions and ideas at the same time.
Great. And my next question is then, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Okay, yep. I would say that currently I work in IT, and just the course of different projects that we work on as we shape our company's IT future, and we have different opinions on which directions we want to go, and like there's people that have different colleagues who have completely different backgrounds than I do. We all have different experience levels, and we all have to. Our jobs are all to have an opinion on what we think is, the best path forward, and it's sort of a balancing act between, thinking that you have the right answer, but knowing that so does everyone else who has an opinion, and weighing it all together, and then setting aside something that if you're totally convinced on something, being able to express that, but realize that it might not always be the majority opinion, and you have to accept that it's a team effort, and everyone's involved.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Michael. I'm Tina Pring. I'm also an at-large council member. And my question is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
What I like most I live downtown Inglewood. I like to see it continue to grow. I'd like to see it become rival in popularity, a few miles north and that strip of Broadway in Denver. I don't see any reason why we can't keep growing downtown ourselves, and become as popular for as a destination as that area. So yeah. And then I love my park, Northwest Greenbelt. I do have ideas and opinions on things that I would like to see in the park. I think in my particular, it is the only green space in the whole neighborhood. So I think that it's super vital and important to me, because I don't know what the neighborhood would be without having Northwest Greenbelt. Yeah, downtown and then the parks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4 in Southwest Inglewood. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see changed about the Parks and Rec Commission?
About the the Parks and Rec Commission specifically?
Yeah, that's the board that you applied for, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So I haven't been, I have never been on the Parks and Rec board. This would be my first experience with trying to get into any form of governance or just, learning about the decision-making process. So I have to admit, I don't know if I'd be qualified to suggest any changes to the board or the commission, because this would be my first experience with it.
Can I ask another question? Sure. Would you be open to serving on another board if you weren't appointed to the Parks and Rec Commission?
If I thought that I could help, then absolutely. If it was something where I could, give any kind of like qualified opinion, or do some useful work, then I'd be willing to. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Hi, it's good to see you again. Thank you for applying and for being here.
Yeah, thanks for suggesting.
I've got a couple questions for you. One, regular attendance and engagement at the meetings is required. Do you have any concern about attending the scheduled meetings?
I don't think so. Is it in the evenings?
Most of them, yeah.
No problem.
Great. And then if you were to be appointed, how would service on a board or commission benefit you personally or professionally?
I think just being a homeowner in Englewood, it's we're helping each other. Like if I'm helping the entire city of Englewood, I'm a part of this city. I would say it's twofold. It's helping me personally, and then it's helping the entire city and community and my neighborhood at the same time.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michael, we have about 2.5 minutes left. You got any questions for us?
Okay, so it's I would say, am I expected to do research or like go canvassing around neighborhoods, or what would be the expectations for me for being on this commission?
Yeah, so what would be the expectation is that there'll be a packet that comes out a few days before the meeting. The Parks and Rec meets the second Thursday of each month. So just being up to speed on what it is that you're going to be discussing and just adding to the discussion for those items. That's really the only requirement. Parks and Rec, they do schedule like volunteer events as well, right?
Yeah, I think commission members try to, as often as possible, volunteer at community nights or, informational nights on improvements or design plans for various parks. It's not a requirement. And the packet that the mayor references, there isn't much of a packet to work on. So just, being able to show up to the meetings and kind of track, what we're currently working on and what the progress is and ask informed questions.
Okay. I think that I can absolutely do that. I can show up and put forth effort and just do the best I can to help the city and my neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does the Parks and Rec Commission take public comment as well?
Does it what?
Take public comment?
They do.
We do.
Yes.
I've only seen public attendance once in the year that I've sat. So we don't have a lot of regular attendees. And it was nice when they came because they supported us in the passage of the bond. And it's always nice when you can get some public support on the work that you've done.
Do we assist with I do every spring the river cleanup. Do we assist with those kind of like volunteer events?
We're always invited to. I mean, residents as a whole in Englewood are invited to participate in those events. Obviously, I think it's a good show for Parks and Rec commissioners to show up and network in that way and show support for those types of activities.
Cool. All right, Michael. Well, so this is our final. We only have a few more interviews tonight. We'll deliberate briefly tonight in terms of replacement. Next Tuesday night, we'll make the final decision during our council meeting, and then on Wednesday, you should hear back from our city clerk's office in terms of future placement. Okay. And we'll keep you in mind for other boards as well, because we have a lot of applicants this year and not as many positions. So, but if anything comes up, yeah, we'll be discussing that here in about half an hour. So, But Michael, it's great to meet you. Thank you very much for making time for us and your willingness to serve, man.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you to all of you for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got Louisa.
Hello, Louisa.
You got a seat back there. Thank you.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Getting tired. Getting to that part of the night.
imagine.
Getting to the part of the night.
Well,
so.
you got 2 more to go, right?
Yeah, you're right. Look at that. So Louisa Almoteño Sierra, I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city.
Okay.
Louisa, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. If there's any time remaining at the end of that, you can ask any questions of us. So.
All right, awesome.
Cool.
Can I start with my first one? Can I take off my jacket?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
I know you're a little bit early we're a little bit running ahead of schedule, so
Okay.
just let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready for you.
All right, cool. All right, so let me start the time. So my first question for you is what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
Well, I moved to Colorado about, I would say now 9 years ago. And I just bought a house in Inglewood about 3 years ago. And I love my community. I love the people that I see every day when I go to the dog park, my neighbors, and I see everything that you guys are doing in regards to like the art, because I'm interested in the CAC, the art that you guys are doing on the sidewalks, the initiatives, what you're doing with the murals and everything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. I want to be a part of that.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Louisa.
Good evening, Louisa. I'm Rita Russell. I'm one of the at-large council members. And I have a couple questions. First of all, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Englewood through your service on the board or commission?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of my experience has been in media and news, community service. I also worked with PBS and I was their senior director of community partnerships. So working with the community is huge for me. But when it comes to art, I'm an artist. So I've done everything from sketching to painting, watercolor, video, photography. I live and I breathe it. And so to be able to contribute in a way where we're supporting our local artists, supporting the talent that we have in Englewood and showcasing that would be pretty awesome.
Great. And my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and opinions?
Yeah, absolutely. And that also leads to your first question as well. So during my time at RMPM, my focus was all DEI initiatives. And part of that was actually the CAB, so the Council Advisory Board, and kind of shifting the model of the way that we not only represented the community, but represented the community in media. So there was a little bit of hesitation and resistance to that shift in the strategy for RMPM. But through open conversation and dialogue, we were all able to work together and we were able to build a CAB that represented basically the community that we wanted to serve.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good evening, Louisa. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. And my question is, what do you love most about Englewood?
So what I love about Englewood is that I was surprised to see how much everyone cares about each other, at least in my vicinity. It was very heartwarming to see so many people not only reach out to see how you were doing and adapting, but to offer resources. And the way that I see Englewood, I could see it growing, I could see it evolving, I could see it changing and aiming for maybe a different perspective than what is commonly known of Englewood. And it's heartwarming to know that everyone's like rallying together to do that.
Good answer, thank you.
I am Steve Ward, I represent Council District 4. Can you tell us what, if anything, you'd like to see improved about any of the boards that you applied for?
Well, I don't know if I could speak on improvement on any of it. I'm not well versed to say I could offer any improvements. What I can say is I've seen a lot of work behind it, so I would just like to contribute maybe some insights from experience and stuff to whatever I can contribute to based on my experience. So everything from the CAC to Parks and Rec. I see a lot of the change that you guys have done in Emerson and also Bates Park. So I don't have any feedback on improvement, but that's only on a lack of knowledge.
Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Needham, District 2 Council Member. Got a couple questions for you tonight. One, regular attendance and engagement in meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about your ability to attend the meetings?
No, not at this time.
Okay. And if you were to be appointed to one of these commissions, how would it benefit you personally or professionally?
Well, I would love to contribute to my community. That's like the main thing for me. If I'm gonna live somewhere, I wanna provide something from what I can do to just, add to it, improve, stuff like that. In regards to, can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
How would it benefit you personally or professionally?
Well, personally, I'll be able to contribute. Professionally, I think it would also allow me to flex that skill set that I have. I've always been a very strategic corporate mindset kind of person. And I'm in this space right now where I'm really more focused on my family and my community versus the boardroom.
Louisa, we got time. We got 5 minutes. Any questions for us?
Yes. So what are you guys looking for somebody who's gonna be in the CAC?
Oh, so let me ask you that. So I actually had that you were, so CAC is your second choice, Parks and Rec is your first? Or
Actually,
the other way?
CAC was my first,
Okay.
and I was told it wasn't available. And then after email communication, they told me it was open, so.
Okay.
And it's correct on this sheet there.
Yes. Yeah, there was some.
Oh, okay. So I'm just looking at the,
Yeah.
your resume, your application.
Yeah.
We tried to amend it, but they said just to bring it up.
Okay, cool. So CAC and Parks and Rec. Okay, so your question was, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
I'm happy to speak to that if you
Go
want.
ahead, yeah.
I'm the City Council liaison to the Cultural Arts Commission, and what I think makes a really successful member on that commission is someone who's coming in with energy and ideas and is willing to kind of take some initiative and even giving feedback on the things that we should be doing. What I love about our citizen commissions is that it's a real opportunity for citizens to lead and get to decide. Citizens are picking the art that goes on the murals and on the sidewalks and the utility boxes. So it's really exciting, but I think that someone who wants to jump in with ideas and not hold back makes someone really successful, and being willing to be creative. And they do host a couple of events throughout the year. So if it's a thank you reception for the artists or a meet and greet with artists, being willing to participate in some of those things is helpful as well. But also just thinking about what's the story that we want to be telling in Inglewood with the public art that we put up and the investments that we make in that. We actually allocate 1% of our capital improvement budget every year to public art in the community that the Cultural Arts Commission allocates.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And then other questions, well, you answered that for me, is what are your goals, y'all, from everyone collectively? What are like the main 3 things you all want to accomplish with the board for this year?
Just any board specifically, or?
Well, if you have something for them collectively or for the CAC.
So, I don't know, is there like goals that you have for the CAC that you want to speak to?
Sure. One thing that the CAC is talking about right now that I've been encouraging them is just thinking about what's a vision for public art in the community. Do we want to have a theme? Is it about Inglewood history? Is it about Colorado? Is it, it's a little bit ad hoc right now. And so they're working with our communications department really to think about how can we be more strategic in the kind of art that we're choosing for the community, as well as how are we ensuring that we have representation from different kinds of artists, local artists. But then also, how does that directly tie into our waymaking and our place finding plan, the other branding and communications work that we do in the community? How does public art sing with that instead of feeling discordant? And so I think some of your brand backgrounds would be really an interesting fit for that. But those are some of the priorities, as well as just seeing more art happening in the community, as well as different kinds of art. How are we engaging music and dance and making those things accessible, ideally in a free way for the community?
That's awesome to hear. And also kudos to the marketing team. I've seen a lot of their work and they're doing great stuff too.
Well, Louisa, anything else?
No, that's all I really have for y'all, unless you have more questions for me. I forgot that I'm on camera, and the 10 minutes got me a little nervous, but if you guys have any other questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
No, I think, don't see any questions, but so Louisa, yeah, we have just the next 2, and then we'll make a quick deliberation tonight.
Okay.
In terms of placement. Next Tuesday night is when we'll make the final decision, and then on Wednesday, you should hear from our city clerk's office about placements on a board. Your first meeting will be in February if you are chosen, so.
Awesome.
All right, perfect. Well, it's great to meet you, Louisa. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and thank you for your willingness to serve, so.
Absolutely, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So quick. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night too.
You too.
Austin, can you go ahead and take a seat back there?
How you doing, Austin?
Good, how are you guys?
Doing well. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for making time.
Yeah, staying late as well, appreciate it.
Perfect. So Austin, I am Nathaniel Sierra. I'm council member for District 1 as well as mayor for the city. Austin, we're going to be asking you 7 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time remaining, you're able to ask any questions of us. So,
okay.
Are you ready to begin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So my first question for you, Austin, is what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
Well, this time, just moved here recently, and I know there's a lot of water and sewer issues, and well, I'm a land agent and work with infrastructure, specifically with pipelines, water infrastructure, sewer, everything like that, from land siting rights to working with counties, municipalities for permitting and everything like that. Yeah, we've had a lot of work on Jason Street, which I live on, and has been in touch a lot with the inspectors and folks that have been out there a lot, and learn a little bit more about the challenges that the city's facing, as well as already starting to tackle the last few years. Yeah, that's something that I definitely found myself wanting to get involved with. Always liked being involved with the community, whether it's coaching Little League football back in college, or run on any committees or stuff like that locally. So yeah, just enjoy being involved and help making things better. So, well, hopefully better.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Austin.
Good evening, Austin. I'm Rita Russell, one of the at-large council members, and I have a couple questions for you. Number one, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board?
I believe, kind of to reiterate specifically, having worked from different aspects and different stakeholder positions, whether it's the contractor or working directly with the city or municipality, or for a private company that's running the pipeline or the construction company, through all of those, I guess, items, I've learned a lot on how to create cohesive environments and foster that. And I think I can bring that positivity to kind of the whole, I guess, stakeholder system within water and the sewer board. And I think hopefully an understanding too of positions that may be difficult for either the contractor or the city, or bridge that gap, because there's always issues. Doesn't matter what the infrastructure needs are. There's always going to be issues and problems to solve to make those projects be successful. And I think I could bring a fresh eye to that and a positive attitude, a modest positive attitude, I think.
Okay,
So,
thank you. And then my second question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
I guess I have to pick one. Yeah, working a lot in oil and gas here, especially in Colorado, especially on the Front Range. I mean, any project has its issues, oppositions, and trying to bridge those gaps between landowner opposition and environmental concerns. A lot of that was for pipeline, for fracs that we were connecting around Boulder County, which is not the easiest to do. And try to satisfy all the stakeholders and the landowners and the operators. And really, as a landman, that is your job. You're not just a project manager. You have to foster and create those relationships across all those different disciplines in order to see the project succeed. And so, yeah, I think I can't really give you one example because there's many, but kind of overall, that's the obstacles that I face pretty frequently. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good evening, Austin. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member. My question is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
What do I like most about Inglewood? I like the small businesses. I have
started unsuccessfully many small businesses over the years. I shouldn't say unsuccessful, but didn't pay the bills over the years. And I've always loved Inglewood, growing up here, whether it's like riding the train down at Bellevue Park or just coming down here to Old Town. I like the diversity of it. I feel like, you go east and, you have a quite different demographic, and as same as you go west, it's industrial, and then you're in Lakewood. And so it feels like, for me, always like a little mini Denver and little microcosm of just like small businesses and light industrial stuff and everything like that. And I think the residents are great. I think it's been, I think traditionally what we consider a blue collar neighborhood and area, somewhat being gentrified slowly. And I think it's nice to have that diversity in Inglewood right now, so.
Thank you.
I am Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4 in Southwest Inglewood. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the Water and Sewer Board? It's a really good question. I think transparency. I think the more, there's so many changes and there's so many dollars going into so many projects. Even just talking to neighbors and stuff, they don't understand what's fully going on at a large infrastructure scale. Even like the reconstruction of Little Dry Creek, and the bore that's going under 85 and that massive thing. I don't know how technically, without doing more flyers and, I don't know, social media presence or something, but I think that'd be the one thing that I would try and do to let people know that, hey, these are the projects we're working on. These are where the dollars are going. We are doing something. We have a huge uphill battle to fight based off of previous, administration choices in the previous decades. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I would do. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Chelsea Camp District 2 Council Member.
Hey, Chelsea.
Thank you for applying and for being here tonight. Couple questions for you. Regular attendance and engagement is required at all of the meetings. Do you have any concern about attending scheduled meetings?
No. I recently went from contract land manning to a full-time position at an engineering firm. So I've got, 9 to 5 obligations, but they encourage, community, involvement. So if there were something that was out of that range, it wouldn't be an issue.
Okay, wonderful. And if you were to be appointed to the board, how would it benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
I think pride. I think, there's some altruism in it, naturally. I think anyone who does it is lying. I think it's nice to be able to contribute locally and know you're helping your community, and being able to have a positive change and impact in that.
That's great, thank you.
So Austin, we still have about 2.5 minutes left. You got any questions for us? What do you got?
All right, let's see. Think of something. What's the biggest challenge you see facing the water sewer right now?
Anybody want to take a stab at that or jump in?
I think you hit on it earlier, Mayor, and this is the issue that I'm running across. This is the last year of my council service. We've been laying the groundwork for massive improvements to our system. We're paying into those improvements now, but we're very slowly seeing the benefits of those improvements. We're preparing to take a gigantic leap ahead in the next couple of years on those improvements, but there's a chance that I'll be out of office by the time those occur. So, like you hit on it a little bit earlier, but the messaging, we have a long-term plan. We can't affect the changes that are needed overnight because the problems that exist didn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a big project. So, yeah, we've been talking about it for many years, at least. I got on council in 2018, and we had these conversations in 2019. They may have been happening prior to me being on city council as well, but that's when the master plan came into effect about 2020, 2021. But yeah, so now we're finally getting to basically the fruits of it, but it's been a slog. But big projects like that, big infrastructure projects take time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, like the incumbents, right? The administration does all this work and then and just gets yelled at about it and doesn't get to read the rewards. Yeah, well, sure you don't want to run. You don't want to run against you. I think whoever the next guy is, whether it's me or someone else, is going to be a lot more popular than I am right now.
Anything else, Austin?
No, I'm good. I think I'm the last one, once you guys get out of here.
We have one more, I think. So, but yeah, so we're gonna deliberate briefly tonight in terms of placement. We'll then make a final decision next Tuesday. And then city clerk will reach out to you on Wednesday about future placement. Actually, just real quick, would you be interested in any other board if they became available?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm open. I just chose this one specifically because my background is just very specific to that, but I'm always open.
I just wanted to ask, just because we have a lot of applicants this year, but not as many open positions, so.
Gotcha.
Cool. Well, Austin, thank you very much for making time for us tonight. It's great to meet you. Thanks for your willingness to serve as well, man.
Absolutely. Thank
Cool.
you guys. Appreciate
Thank you,
your
Austin.
time.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, man.
And stay warm next week, yeah.
Yes.
Ready for those water main breaks this weekend.
I was already thinking.
Don't even put that in the heat.
Rhonda. Go have a seat over there.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hello. Good to see you too. Glad you're here. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Rhonda. It's good to see you.
Thank you, you too.
Rhonda, I'm Nathaniel Sierra, council member for District 1, as well as mayor for the city.
Yes.
So thanks for making time for us tonight. Rhonda, we're going to be asking you 7 questions.
Okay.
You'll have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. If there's any time remaining, feel free to ask any questions of us. So
Okay.
it's going to be pretty simple. So
All right, thank you.
I know that we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but let me know when you're ready to begin.
I am.
All right, perfect. So first question's for me, and then we're just going to go to my left.
Okay.
First question is, what motivated you to apply for an Inglewood board at this time?
I have been interested in applying for a board in previous times that they've been open. But what finally made me decide was I did the planning school. Who's that through? I forget.
Community development.
Yeah, the community development planning school. And one of the things that they really pushed on the last night was getting involved in the board. And that kind of made me decide the next time something came open, I was going to. And then with the Go Bond, I helped spread the word on that through my neighborhood and decided that I would really like to, if the Parks and Rec Board opening came up, that's the one I was going to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Yes.
Good evening, Rhonda. My name is Rita Russell, and I'm one of the at-large council members.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the Board or Commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the Board or Commission?
And you're asking me specifically about the Parks and Rec,
Yes.
the one I'm applying
Yes.
for. I have been a nanny for 20-some years, and I know pretty much every park in Inglewood. And I know that for a fact because one summer my nanny girls and I took the list of playgrounds and posted it on the refrigerator and made sure we visited every
That's awesome.
single
I
one.
love it.
And that was back before they redid Baker, and it was the old metal scary stuff. And we still spent the whole day there playing on that playground. So I feel like I bring more of a grassroots knowledge to the board because I've had feet on the ground and the swings and the playground and everywhere in Inglewood. And so I feel like I have a special, unique knowledge that I could bring to that. And then Inglewood as a whole, I love this city. I love everything about Inglewood. And I feel like I just have a real positive outlook about parks and about Parks and Rec and about living in Inglewood.
Okay, perfect. So my next question is, can you describe an experience in the past during which you worked in with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views or perspectives?
Well, the most recent was helping with the Go Bond, was a variety of people from the neighborhood, and maybe not too diverse because we were all there for the same goal, but diverse in the fact that I didn't know I didn't know any of them going into it, so it was getting to know someone new in that regard. The planning school that I did, that again was a lot of people that I didn't know, and probably an even more diverse group because of the different outlooks we all have about how Inglewood should be developed and the things that should happen. And
one of the nights was Lego night, where we had to build our own city. And I kept pushing for all of the grass on top of the buildings and had a real lively discussion with one of the gentlemen about how it isn't that difficult to put grass and the little parks on top of the buildings. It's a good thing to do. So I feel like I have had that kind of diverse experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, Rhonda. I'm Tina Prang. I'm also an at-large council member.
Yes.
My question is, what do you love most about Inglewood? So you stated earlier you love all things about Inglewood. Give us some examples.
See, that's such a hard question because I truly do love everything about Inglewood. I've lived here for almost 25 years in the same house, in the same neighborhood. I live in Old Town, right on the edge of Hawthorne. And I love my neighborhood. We are very community oriented. We care very much about each other. We watch out for each other's backs. We bring in packages. We take care of gardens in the summer when people go on vacation. And we've even had people who know people in our neighborhood who have specifically moved into our neighborhood because we are so community oriented. That's one of the things I'm very proud of because I had a part in bringing people together through the National Night Out Block Party. I love the library, the children's program, especially being a nanny. I've raised several children through Miss Kim and Miss Susie in the children's program. I love the trolley, now known as BERT, which I took down here because I'm trying to promote the new schedule and ride it after the new hours. And so I love the trolley. I love the small town feel. We were at the Christmas tree lighting ceremony and just all of the small town things. I grew up in a very small town in Iowa, and Inglewood feels like home to me.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve Ward. I represent Council District 4. And my question for you is, what, if anything, would you like to see improved about the Parks and Recreation Commission?
The commission? Yeah.
That's the structure of the question, but
Yes,
you can answer
yes.
it however you choose.
I wouldn't really have anything to offer. I've only visited the commission one time, and that was right after the bond had passed, and I wanted to, kind of celebrate a little bit with them. And so I don't really know much about it to really offer anything that I would improve or change.
Good answer, thank you.
Hi, Rhonda, it's good to see you.
You
Thank you for
too.
applying. As I'm sure you can imagine, regular attendance and engagement in meetings is required. Do you have any concerns about your ability to attend?
No, not at all.
And if you are to be appointed, how would this benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Well, it would help me personally because everyone in my neighborhood thinks that I know everything about what goes on here. And so whenever something happens, I'm the one they call. What's going on? And usually I have some sort of answer because I follow the city blogs and I follow the different things that happen. And I think that being a part of this board and this commission will help me to help my neighbors understand what's going on better and have a better idea of things that are happening and changes. I also really enjoy being a part of the Inglewood city life and knowing things that are going on and having an awareness of how a city is run and the different things that happen in here. And I think being a part of this is just another facet after taking all of the classes and doing the different things.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Rhonda, we have about 2.5 minutes left. Any questions for us?
Not really. This is so new to me. I wouldn't know what to ask.
No, that's fair. No questions, that's fine as well. But so I guess Rhonda, you are our last interview for the night. So after this, we're going to deliberate and start getting a placement in terms of where we might be able to get people in. Next Tuesday, though, is when we'll make the final decision during city council meeting.
Okay.
And so on Wednesday, you should hear from the city clerk in terms of placement.
Okay.
And then if you are selected, your first meeting will be in May. February. I don't know why I want to say November, but it would be in February, so it's
Very
later
good.
tonight. So,
Thank you.
but Rhonda, yeah, thank you very much for coming. Thank you
Yes.
for your willingness to serve and all that you do for the neighborhood. So,
Yes.
thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thanks.
Enjoy your Burt ride back.
Yes, I was gonna say, I just checked my watch. I had time to chat with Dwight a little bit and then catch my, I can't go too far without Dwight catching me, and I have to talk to Dwight a little bit. Then I'll catch the bus back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Take care. Yeah.
All right, everyone, just a short break. Short break, and then we'll come back.
Sounds good.
When you guys are ready.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah. So you're saying this sheet is correct, or this packet?
At least for her it was, compared to what we saw in our PDF.
So Jackie, everything's been updated in terms of like
Yeah.
open,
The water and sewer with that, we added that alternate. And
Yeah.
what was the other, was there another update?
well, just, who was it? There was a woman earlier that.
Louisa,
Louisa.
she applied for cultural arts, but her application says Parks and Rec. But I think this is correct.
Okay.
She said that you guys knew you couldn't fix it and just to let us know in the meeting.
Oh, cause yeah, I think she let us know Friday or something like that. But it's correct on your cheat sheet? Okay, perfect.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna go get some water.
That's how I roll.
Where are we
Down
gonna
to
put
White.
him?
We're down to White.
Yeah.
Dwight finds you.
I've been walking everybody out. Has a car.
Who didn't show up for the interview?
Jana. Oh, Jana was tonight. Jana Smith did not show up. She was on
And the woman before the break.
ATC, and then last night was Andrew Forlines, and he was P&Z. And then CAC, and then we had, I guess, Melinda Bixler. Bixler, and then she was library board and CAC. So as we're going through those, we'll kind of, I think I took them, I might have taken them off the cheat sheet, I can't remember.
Okay. Just in case I'll cross.
Just in case, yeah,
I'm
but I
assuming you're indicating they're not interested anymore.
think I did I not update Melina? I knew one thing was payroll channels. Public library board, return one more time. Maybe I didn't get her out of there. Oh, she's updated, oh no, okay.
Didn't show?
He did not, yeah,
Okay.
he
He's
was,
still on CAC.
okay, so we just gotta cross those out. As we get to, I can let them know.
Oh, Melina was CAC too. Suddenly, that means we have 3 people for 3 positions.
For CAC? Cultural Arts Commission? Oh.
Because Andrew and Melina didn't show. That
Yeah,
works out nicely.
Andrew
Yeah,
And
okay.
Melina. And then you had Angelica, who wanted to move up. So yeah, and then what they say, she was public library board also. And I can say, I can everybody go through these before we start. Melina was public library board. And then we have Jana was Historic Society. So that left 2 people for that spot. And I can go through and make sure we all get them crossed off too as they're going through.
Oh, but then if Louisa is on CAC, then that means 1 for Wax.
Yeah, and then Rick Somerson had sent an email this morning with his
I saw that.
extra
I was like, finally,
choices, BOA.
someone says they're interested in BOA.
I know, which I was surprised because we usually get a lot. So we can, yeah. And I think you guys usually ask too if they're willing to take other boards. I think it was pretty good. Everybody was.
Yeah, Jan Wiper
She was
said she'd
willing.
have to think about it.
And usually if
But
it's,
everyone else thinks so.
yeah. You know, we offer and if they can't, then we call on to the next one. Yeah. We're still recording, FYI. There was more than that, but they weren't in.
Huh?
There was a few more, but they weren't within the boundaries.
Oh, that's right, okay. So it's on my day.
I think so, yeah.
And I think we had a couple people that dropped out that were wanted to, and then they dropped out, so they're not even on these sheets. They dropped out like weeks ago. There's 2 sandwiches left in there, Grampy's hungry. There's 2 sandwiches left in there. Did a pretty good time. If you want, Mayor, at the beginning, we can go through and the ones that didn't show up, we can go through and cross them off the list.
Yeah, I think so. So we had 4 total, right?
Yes, when
Jana,
Steve gets
Christina,
back.
and then from yesterday.
We had 3 no-shows.
No, 4.
I have 2 from last night and 1 from today.
There were
Oh,
two
Christina,
today.
that's right.
Christina.
Christina backed out. So we can go through.
I consider her, yeah, I just put that under no show.
So Christina was sustainability. I think I'd already gotten her off the list.
All right, so we're all here?
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, so I guess we can just begin. We'll start with just the reappointments. Are we good with just reappointing people? It looks like everyone did receive letters of recommendation from the chair for their specific board. So are we good with just reassigning them to their board? I am, so.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and just move people from alternate to regular or just, actually, I guess that's a separate question. So one, yes, so, sorry, I'm just.
So you're giving the reappointments the longer term, the full term.
I think so. At this point, yes. We'll give them the full term and then we can, if we want to make a change based off of any other appointments, then we can make a change at that point. But at this point, let's give them the full term.
And then the alternate.
And then the alternate, I was gonna ask that question. Everybody okay with the alternates to regular? Yeah.
A longer term with what's available.
And the longer term as
Okay.
well, yeah. All right, perfect. So do we want to just start with Board of Adjustment Appeals and just go down the list and just see if we can find people? Do we want to start there since there were no applicants, or should we go to Cultural Arts since there were applicants and then come back to those boards that don't have any applicants and see who's left? I think that'd probably be the best way to do it. Okay. All right, so let's just jump to Cultural Arts Commissions. Anybody want to just jump in with any feedback?
Yeah, I have Angelica, the regular. I have Louisa, who we heard tonight. It was her first choice, and then no one else showed up. But Rick, is it Summerson? He didn't apply for this one, but he has said he worked on arts commissions in the past. And so I wonder if he's one we could ask, because he has experience and seemed open to doing something else as well.
Oh, that's right. Wait. Where was?
He sent an email today, and he said CAC, Library Board, Code Enforcement, and BOA with his other choices.
Oh,
he did send an email today. Rick did.
Yeah, Rick, okay.
So he included CAC.
And BOA.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, on his email today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said CEAC.
He had that also.
Oh,
He had
wow,
4,
okay.
so
Okay,
BOA.
why does she look disappointed?
Yeah, Code Enforcement,
Sorry.
Library, and Cultural Arts. He had on his email.
Then I would do Rick as the third for me.
Okay.
Rick as the third for cultural.
So the alternate, I
So
guess.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
There's this Eric
Yeah. I was gonna ask
Sherbanek
the same
there.
thing.
Is he never replied or did we?
I don't think we had him. did
No,
we?
he wasn't on the
See
schedule for
that
either night.
application.
Yeah, he wasn't on the schedule either.
Then he either didn't apply or, we had one person, no, I don't think he did. There was one that didn't even sign up for the interviews once they did
So that
apply.
was him, it was,
So it might have
yeah,
been
because
him.
I was kind of curious, so like, we missed him.
No.
All right, so I'm fine with that with Louisa, and then I guess Rick, based on your feedback, I'd be okay with that. Chelsea.
Is that Rick Summerson?
Yeah.
Summerson, yeah.
Okay, so sound good?
But he is also willing to do Board of Adjustments.
Who was that?
We don't land.
Well, I know that, I was
that-
kind of thinking that too, I'm just like,
Willing, that might be a good place.
because Rick was. Yeah, okay, yeah, so that's Rick.
My instinct, because I thought about that too, is that I think we can find someone, at least ask someone else if they want to do that. Because he's a background in cultural arts, that one sometimes it's a little bit trickier
Yeah.
to find someone for.
I think there were several other people that I kind of can see in Board and Adjustment Field, depending on how some of the other ones go, but, okay, cool. Moving on next to EDDA. I did like Dan for that role. No, okay, so we have Dan. I was gonna say, I don't think there was really anyone else that fit that criteria though. I saw that Louisa had, but she falls outside the boundaries, so.
And Dan is Craig Hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig Hospital.
I love
Transferring from one
that.
Craig board member to another Craig board member,
exactly.
which is,
I
I
love
think,
leaving.
good.
I agree.
Okay. Election Commission, so we're reappointing Robert.
Yep.
So that doesn't leave any open spots. Inglewood Transportation Advisory Committee, so we're elevating Jacob to a regular member, and they're both the same term, so that leaves a regular and alternate. Anyone want to chime in here?
Yeah, this is the place where I'm gonna advocate strongly for the District 4 candidate, Jake Gilbert. I think he lives 2 blocks away from Clayton, which a lot of the candidates talked about, the commute to and from Clayton. He's been active suggesting traffic improvements and talking about some of the issues around Clayton in a constructive manner in the past. He's talked to council about it. He's familiar with the city. I think he's a good applicant, and this is probably the one appointment that I care the most about, just for the record.
Actually, I had put him as regular member also.
Okay. Perfect. Anyone else want to chime in?
I had Jake on my short list as well, obviously because he's been so engaged. I also know, like, we've appointed him to a lot of other things recently, and I was wondering if we wanted to give someone else an opportunity to serve, if we want to think about, because several of these are Clayton parents.
I was gonna say, I should have asked that question tonight of whether or not they're all kind of, if they all speak to each other, because it was Nicole, Daniel.
Natalie.
I really like Natalie as another choice.
I
for
liked
this
Natalie
committee as
too.
well.
I put her as the alternate.
And I don't have any objection to that. I would say that holding someone's previous service as a reason not to appoint them to a board that is a permanent board when they've served previously on ad hoc boards strikes me as the wrong direction.
Which board? He was on affordable.
He was on affordable housing.
And off-leash dogs.
Yeah, off-leash dogs.
And I'm not saying that's against him, I'm just thinking about,
Yeah, just
you know,
like
just
giving
tons of
someone else
opportunity.
another opportunity.
Or would Jake be a good fit for CAC, or, you know what I mean? But I also know he's been really passionate about this, so it's not a hill I'm willing to die on, but that was just part of my thought process.
I'd support Jake for the second regular member and then Natalie for the alternate.
One thought I had is, do we want to do 2 Clayton parents here? Or do we want to do Madeline here, who was the one who
I
was
really,
all
yeah, I
the
really like
great
Matt.
federal transportation experience? Because I think she could help us with grant funding and federal funding. That seems like a different perspective that we don't really have on ETAC, that I really liked. She
I was gonna say Joe's on ETech, and I'm kind of curious what the makeup is.
Oh, yeah.
ETech today.
Madeline.
So I did like Madeline, and I'm fine with one of the claimed parents, Jake or Nicole or.
Natalie. Or Daniel, they're all Clayton.
Oh, actually, so no, that allows us. Oh no, yeah, because Jacob went to. Okay.
Jacob and
Cross them
Jake.
off then.
Madeline, her second choice was HPC, which one person didn't show up and the other person you already put on CAC.
Yeah, I'm aware, and we might end up putting her there. I just think she would provide the city more value on ETAC.
Yeah, I think her experience working with municipalities around transportation issues could be really valuable.
Can
So
we-
I would shift from Nicole to her.
Since we got, okay, so we have 3 for alternate, and obviously we don't have a full council, so this may change on Tuesday night.
So what do we have?
So what it sounds like, we have Jake as a regular member and Madeline as the alternate. And Jacob as the alternate to regular. That's what I'm hearing right now. I know, it's hard.
I would still put Madeline on second board, the HPC.
Okay.
And I am sensitive to the logic about appointing multiple Clayton parents. That happens to be a hot spot right now. And I think there'll be some significant discussion about Delaware Street in particular in the near future. Also, it's right next to Clayton. It's super wide and arguably dangerous. The other parents were PTO parents, it sounded a lot like to me. So they kind of have a group that they sort of caucus with, for lack of a better word. And I think that might also provide some larger representation for the community. I'm still very bullish about Jake, but I would, for my second appointment, I would choose another one of the
You would do Nicole or
PTO
Dan?
group.
Nicole or Dan for the second?
Or Natalie.
Or Natalie's also, yeah, Natalie is Clayton, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see any of them that I didn't think
Yeah, they're all strong. Like,
would be a bad fit.
and Clayton was very vocal about just the changes on Oxford, Quincy, obviously the bike to school or walk or roll or walk and roll to school. They were pretty strong contingent for that, so.
I noted that, I think it was Dan, if you look at his resume packet, he included some letters of recommendation from his neighbors.
Yeah.
Nicole has two as well.
Okay.
Both of them.
From current board and commission, shared by.
And they live at the same address, I think, those two.
Do they?
I think so.
Who does?
There were two of them.
Dan and Nicole?
Hang on just a second. They were today, right?
Yes.
Look at that. Thanks for reading that up, Chelsea. Cole's a planning school graduate.
They were babysitting the kid out front. Now that I remember. They're tag teaming their child out front,
Okay, that makes sense.
Nicole and Dan.
So I remember
Well,
correctly.
yeah,
right?
I don't know if their address is the same.
Their
Yeah,
address
it
is the
is.
same.
That's a good one, Rita. Yeah, I'd go with either one of them, frankly. I mean,
So right now I'll have Madeline, but your point's well taken, Steve, regarding Clayton. So we'll just see where we come up with the historical preservation. So are we good with Madeline at this point, and then we'll just see? Okay. So Jacob as a regular member, Jake as the second regular member, and then Madeline as an alternate at this moment. Historical preservation, we would have no other candidate based on Louisa being part of CAC, Madeline being part of PTAC, and Jana not attending. So should we skip this one and then come back and just see?
I would like to skip it and come back personally, but we can.
Do you have any, but you're here saying Madeline.
Nothing that wouldn't beat a dead horse, so let's move on.
Mally Trust?
I have William, Lee,
I kind of like Rebecca for this one.
I like Rebecca for this one too.
either one.
I have Rebecca in here too.
My notes here, sorry.
And we just have those two, right? There was no one else that, okay.
Right.
Anyone, so Rebecca? Okay. Next, Parks and Rec, another difficult decision.
This is gonna be a hard one.
The three I have are Jim Woodward, Rhonda, and Kristen. We have Emma as one of the regular members, and she's got the longer term, so let me put her as one of the.
I have Nicholas Palmer instead of Jim, and I'm wondering if we can ask Jim to serve somewhere else. Just because Jim has served years on Parks and Rec, and I think he'd be open to other things.
I have Nicholas Palmer too. I think he would be a great addition.
So
to
good.
I have Nicholas as well.
Okay.
You guys
For
are
the
going
other
too fast for
long-
me, I'm slow.
I think
Long-
my notes are
longest
Uh,
term.
Yeah, I like him.
What about Jim for historic preservation?
Actually, that was in my mind. Or he could do.
Not that we're talking about that right now.
He could do BOA, he could do
I'm gonna write his name on the
CAC.
Oh, yeah, Nick Palmer, so he was, okay.
So that leaves us with two others, right? If we give,
Kristen and Rhonda were the other two that Nathaniel and I had.
I think Jennifer Bartlett might be.
Yeah, I like Jennifer
Good for
tonight
them.
too. She was the first one tonight.
Mhm.
All right, so,
I like Rhonda a lot, actually.
yeah, Rhonda was great.
Can we
I really like
pencil her in and then decide on the third one?
The first one tonight. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just pencil her in, so I'll just throw Rhonda in here. Should we throw in as the regular member up to 29, the other 4-year term?
You're putting Rhonda at the.
Rhonda is another 4-year term, yeah.
I really like Kristen. She's been a really vocal advocate, I think in a very similar way to Jake Gilbert, has a really strong perspective and frankly has a ton of energy, I think, to support the commission and give it some life. And if we are running out of space, I would frankly rather have her than Nicholas and put Nicholas somewhere else. I think we should appoint Nicholas, but I think she specifically has had so much advocacy for the parks this last year. I'd really like to see her on this.
I see her and Nicholas being a good balance of voices on that particular commission as well.
Okay, so yeah, so Nicholas, yeah, going back through his answers, I do recall Nicholas now. So I'm fine with Nicholas. I would like to get Kristen on here as well. So, and I'm fine putting Kristen as the 1-year term, I guess. Nicholas as the 2-3-year term, going through 28. Emma and Rhonda as the 2 4-year terms. Are we good with that, or?
Wait, you had,
Where's the
did
one?
you just name 4 people for 3 spots?
No,
No.
Emma's the,
Yeah, got it.
so then Kristen, Rhonda, and Nicholas would be the other ones.
Yeah.
So Kristen, Nicholas, Emma, Rhonda in that order.
Kristen, Nicholas, Emma, Rhonda. Yeah. Okay, are we good? Moving on to planning and zoning, it looks like we're reappointing Noah, Michelle, and Carl, and they're all 4-year terms. By the way, did they ever specify whether or not they want a full term when they ask for a reappointment? Never comes up, right, Jackie?
I think it's just assumed, because they've already.
Right, it's assumed, I
It's
think.
assumed that we
Okay.
just.
All right, just kind of curious.
So
All right,
what
we
if
have
we
another
have
member, go ahead.
Noah, Michelle, and Carl, right?
Noah, Michelle, and Carl, yeah.
And I like Amy Cesario for the alternate.
Yeah, I was good with Amy or with Sam. I probably lean Amy on that one.
I have Samuel on my list.
Steve, Tina.
Stand by. I'm slower than everyone else.
His computer isn't working that fast.
No, I just have notes in a big long form instead of on a spreadsheet where they belong.
I put everything in a Word document.
I did too.
And I
but-
just use,
I like to sketch mine in as we
Control F.
go, so I like. how it's
Oh, do you?
done.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could go with Amy on that one.
Tina? Do you have a preference between Amy or Sam?
Oh,
I'm looking at you, yeah.
I think we're asking Steve
No,
again. I'm like, he
no,
just
that's-
answered you.
No.
I liked Amy as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll put Amy as the alternate. All right, Public Library Board. Amy is a regular member for reappointment. That leaves one open position. Any?
I really like Molly for this because she's a librarian. I think that could help. That I also liked Alex.
I liked Alex a lot for this. I see the value that Molly could bring. I also wonder if there would be like any rubbing that occurs because she is a librarian.
Yeah.
I just really liked the passion that Alex had, and I liked how she spoke about the understanding of the complexities of the types of people that come into the library and what they come into the library for. And I think she has a real heart for trying to wade through some of those issues. Or they have them.
Yeah, I like her for this. I think Molly could be interested on historic press as well.
I noted Alex's talk about makerspace, which I think is something that I would love to see develop at the library. And also, I just had an offhand mention of when we asked her what she likes about Inglewood, she mentioned Adult Swim Night at Pirates Cove, which isn't necessarily related to the library, but is an awesome event. Really cool to know that it's making an impact.
I liked Alex. There's several on this list that I'm just like, there's so many good ones on this one, but I'd be fine with Alex. So I'll just pencil Alex in. All right, moving on to Sustainability Commission, we got Logan, Tracy, and Lana as reappointments or alternates to regular, which leaves one open. Oh no, actually, I didn't realize this. We got 2 alternate members here. Okay, so I really liked Hillary. That she would be great. I'd be happy to have her as a regular member. Killian was a good dude. The second guy tonight, but yeah. So, any feedback on just
Regular alternate.
well, or just like
There's one more opening.
yeah, we need one more. There's actually another position, but no one else
No one else applied for that one, right?
applied for it
No,
specifically.
but I have an idea. We could put Dr. Nonis here because he said he'd served on environmental commissions in the past. And he cares a lot about like water, clean air, clean water, and from a health perspective, which could be an interesting role or person on that. Because we haven't gotten to water and sewer yet, but that's gonna be very tricky. Because we only have one opening there.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have a favor for water and sewer. That's
Yeah.
Right, I don't know, I don't remember if I penciled him into water and sewer. I'm not sure that I would put him on the Sustainability Commission.
That you would or wouldn't?
I probably wouldn't. And I mean, if he ends up not getting appointed, he may apply again. I mean, do you know, would there be more openings on water and sewer 6 months from now?
Let me find out. Water and sewer.
There's not. The next one is 2028.
Wow.
Well, it's a 6-year,
Well, yeah, it's a 6-year thing.
2028, 29, and 20.
I mean, we could call him.
You know what, I'm sorry,
Jackie
next
could
year,
call and see. Oh, there is something next year.
2026.
Yeah, I mean, he can decide if he wants to reapply next year or take this. He just specifically mentioned that he'd served on environmental commissions in the past. And it might be interesting, so we could at least see, but we're trying to fill spots.
What about Jim?
I think I would like Jim somewhere
Oh,
else,
Jim?
personally, like historic pres, PAC.
Does Joel have any interest in sustainability? I know we really did this guy. He was open to other boards.
I have Joel penciled in under CAC, but we can see.
CAC.
Code enforcement, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
I think he'd be good at that.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll just come, do we just leave it open for now then?
Did you pick a regular member though?
Hillary.
It is Hillary, okay.
Well, I did. I mentioned, I don't know if I got,
No, that's fine with me.
okay. Alternate member, we're good with Killian? Yeah? As one of the alternates?
I also, I think we created 2 alternates because there were so many applications for sustainability in the past. We don't have to fill it, but
It hasn't been.
We don't have to fill it, but
Last June.
but I also feel bad if we have, for turning people away.
I
to
wouldn't
not
mind
fill.
actually putting like Alexa here either. As the other alternate.
I think we can leave that one and fill it
And then just
later.
right now, yeah, exactly.
Because it's not going to impact.
But I was thinking, it's like here, like the other alternate, like Madeline, I think would be great here. I think Alexa would be good here. So there's plenty of names to choose from. I don't think that we're gonna leave it blank, but, okay. All right, moving on to urban renewal.
I had Amy here so that she had this one and then not the other, but
Actually, I put Nick Claremont here.
He did want to be a part of it, but it's only one. Like, they've already met for this year. He was the last one to speak last night, so. I did like him. I would like to find a place for him on a board. Actually, I'll probably go through his.
Did he say he would take other?
He did. He said the only thing was that he's unable to meet Wednesday nights. That is it, and so.
So that he wouldn't look out for code enforcement, that's a Wednesday.
Yeah, so that would be the only one. They only meet once a year, right? You are right? And even then, it's not much.
I
Yes.
think they will meet more if necessary, but I don't think it's been deemed necessary for a long time.
Well, and chances are that board could go away at some point too, because we don't have any projects.
But we always keep it open just because it'd be harder to bring it back.
Retroactive.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So you don't have, do you want to put Nicholas there or not?
I'm fine putting Nicholas here, even though they're. But I'd be happy to put Nicholas here with also the understanding we'll try to find him something else.
That's what I was gonna say. I wouldn't want this to be the only board that he can serve on, nor would I want the fact that we've appointed him to this to keep us from appointing him to something that he actually meets more than once a year in subsequent rounds.
Well, and the truth is, if we put him here, he could apply for another board because this one really doesn't meet that often, so 6 months from now, he could do that too.
It just can't be on, they can't be on a quasi board and another board. Can be on.
Is that a quasi?
Oh,
What we said?
Can't be on two quasi.
Two quasi boards, okay, so he could do, okay.
But he could be on a different board, not a.
All right, water and sewer. We have John Moore as a regular member to 31, and then an alternate member. Just open it up to everyone.
I liked Isaac and Ray.
Alexa and Ray, the top two.
I think out of those two, I would prefer Ray first and foremost, but Isaac's a close second for me.
So I think in terms of the makeup on water and sewer board, I would lean towards Alexa. We already have, I'm trying to think of her name. She was sitting right next to me tonight, but she sits on Denver.
Denver, right,
Denver Water, last name Jobe, I believe, Jobe.
yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, yeah.
Yeah, but I think.
Jolie, Jolie is her last name, right?
Oh, that's what it is, yeah. So we do have someone on the board that already sits like on another municipalities and provides that perspective. So.
And so does Alexa sit on
Alexa's federal level or?
State, she's the legislative council staff for the water committee.
So the water and sewer board, it is quasi judicial, right? So if she sits on a state board, could that create a conflict of interest?
She'll sit on a state board, she's staff for the committee. She did put in her application that if, there was something they were discussing state law or something that conflicted with the bill she was working on, she would have to recuse herself. But I don't know how much we would do that.
Didn't we have 3 candidates that were involved?
We had.
With water at some professional.
Isaac, Ray, and Alexa.
Larry was tonight, Ray was tonight as well. Isaac, Jim, Amy, Austin. So yeah, I think in terms of, I think I would lean Alexa here for water and sewer. Steve, did you chime in?
I'm looking right now.
And Tina, you said Isaac and Ray were your top 2, right?
Yeah, given your input, I'm trying to look at other people to see.
I did like what Ray said about his neighbors and talking to his neighbors about what's going on with water.
Yeah. Not that Ray was great.
What about Lawrence?
Larry.
Larry. He hasn't been here super long, but I like the
Has he
fact
been
that he had
here-
some experience like working on the rate increases and some of those challenges that come in some of those conversations. He wouldn't be a bad
I was
option.
gonna say, he missed our discussion about digging the well tonight. That was part of water and sewer tonight, and he sat in on it on the Centennial side or West Valley, whatever it was. But
Okay.
I think I would, if we're not gonna do Alexa, I'd maybe still do Ray. Just based on
I
how
like
much
Ray,
around
yeah.
the community dynamics, the relations, like how are we talking about the quality of the water? I thought was really strong, and his understanding also of like what investment is needed, and like, yeah, I know you want that, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. But I also defer to the members of the Water and Sewer Board of like what you guys think, what hole you have that you think we could fill.
Well, and I think Alexa she mentioned it during her meeting, she's early 30s and having that, she's got the expertise and she's got the knowledge, and just having
Different
someone younger on that board, I think makes sense. I don't think we're not a younger board.
Yeah.
So I think she would provide perspective, she qualified for it, so I do lean Alexa.
More diversity.
But also, I don't have any issue with Ray either. I think Ray would be a great second choice.
He works for the city of Aurora.
Aurora, yeah.
Isn't that where Peter came from? I thought about that. That could be interesting.
Did he come from Aurora?
Uh-huh.
Okay, can't remember if it was.
And he's been in Aurora, I think he would have been there when Peter was there, so.
Who's the third one we were just talking about, Isaac?
All right, so I don't think we.
I support Alexa, I don't even know what else
Yeah.
is jumping.
So Steve, Tina, anything? All right, we'll put in Alexa, and then obviously we can make modifications to tonight if needed. Or even tonight, since we're gonna now flip over to the next page. So I'm gonna leave John and Alexa for this one for Water and Sewer Board. Do we want to pencil in Jim for historical preservation? Yes?
I think he'd be good at it.
All right, so we'll pencil him in there.
Is that when he said he wanted, or he just said he'd do anything?
He said he'd be willing to serve wherever.
Okay, I'll email him tomorrow.
Where is it? Okay, here we go. So Jim. Okay. All right, Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Do we want to start there?
Where did we put Jim?
Historical preservation.
Okay.
So do we want to skip Board of Adjustment and Appeals for now and just go to Code Enforcement Advisory?
Can we figure out who's left, just so that we know who?
Sure.
I don't know if there's like an easy
So
list.
So based on what we have Austin, Amy Brown, Isaac Zamora, Ray Serrano, Larry Hammond, Nicholas Nonas, Nicholas Chermore.
No, we appointed him to be, oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, technically, yeah, we're
Yeah,
not gonna.
yeah.
I already said, well, actually I haven't. Joel Moore, Molly, Molly Rainier, Hunter Chase,
Nicole, Dan, and Natalie.
Sam Kolnick,
That's a lot of people.
yeah, we have quite a few names. Michael Riley, Jennifer Bartlett.
What if we did Jim on BOA and Molly on historic pres?
No, don't put Jim on BOA. I don't think that's a good fit.
You don't think Jim is a good fit, really? You don't?
I don't think he's a good fit for Board of Adjustments. And I don't think that the Board of Adjustments are doing that much anymore. Because they got changed. A lot of things got changed when.
Do STRs.
Huh?
They do STRs. A lot of STR business goes through BOA, short-term rentals. Tamara, do you know anything else on their agendas? That's a big one.
No. Would that be a good fit for Samuel, because he was really interested in land use?
It might actually. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Because doesn't BOA cover any other kind of like adjustments to those kinds of policies?
Yeah, non-conformance.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our,
Appeals.
generally in our Title 16 land use code, they get to make some exceptions, consider exceptions, and then we specifically put them in as, they can make an exception to the primary residence requirement for certain short-term rentals as well.
It could be an interesting place for him if he wants to reapply for P and Z.
I think he would work well there. I'd support that.
Who did
Who's
you
that?
say?
Samuel Cunning?
For BOA.
Okay. I'd be good with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good catch, Chelsea.
Oh, team sport.
All right, so Samuel Kolnick, or what was his last name? Kolnick?
Yeah.
Kolnick, yeah. It's PJ Kolnick.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Code Enforcement Advisory. So I heard Joel
Sorry.
Moore.
You had an alternate for DOA.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's what I went.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
I penciled Joel's name in right after he walked out of the room. I think he could be good at this.
Siak?
Yeah.
I tend to agree if he wants to serve on it. I think he'd be an excellent candidate.
He's level-headed, he's thoughtful,
Professional,
professional. Yeah, I think like he cares about the community, but I think he would be a good voice there.
He said he didn't want to do budget. That was it.
Yeah. But also he has the budget background.
Yeah, he
I
does.
think it would be a good perspective.
So you're talking about Joel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
I'm
good with
good with
that.
that.
So I'd be happy to pencil that in for regular member.
And
then-
we just asked them, right?
Yeah, we
I'll
asked, yeah.
email them this evening or tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll say yes on that, but
I don't either.
I don't either.
But I'll bring it forward on Tuesday if they do.
We want to ask him more than one, like that or sustainability? Or does that get too
Oh,
complicated?
actually, yeah, that'd be. Well,
Or if he says no, then we want another backup here.
well, I'm just trying to see if there's another place for him outside of sustainability.
code enforcement is a regular seat and the sustainability is an alternate.
I don't know how much that will matter though.
But they're still pretty engaged. He just doesn't get a vote, but.
Yeah.
Are those our only openings left?
It looks like it.
CAC and that one sustainability seat?
Yep, that's it. I'd be okay with that.
Can we offer him code enforcement and if he declines, then
Ask him if he wants sustainability.
yeah, offer
Alternate.
sustainability as a second choice?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I could even call him.
Kristen?
Yeah, are you good with doing that?
Yeah,
Becky?
no, that's,
Okay, so you got that. So Joel offers
I'll offer him.
a regular seat on CEAC, if not alternate on sustainability. So we should have backups for full. So who would be the alternate member? Who would be backup to Joel for regular member?
Well, we also have an alternate
Yeah.
spot to fill. I think Ray could also be good on CEAC.
Yeah, I could see that. I'd really like to get him involved somewhere. He just has great energy. I think that he's a straight shooter, but like not in an offensive way.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, he could really add to the conversation. If he's willing to consider it.
That'd be good
Yeah,
with
I think he would fit on either one of those boards too.
So you want to put Ray? Add Ray to.
I think I still like him best for water and sewer, but we have a number of really good choices for that, so.
Yeah,
That's not the hill I want to die on tonight.
okay. So I'll pencil in Ray for
The alternate?
the alternate, and then we'll elevate him to regular if Joel decides to take sustainability.
But then we need another
Yeah.
person.
Now, unfortunately, we can't put Nick Claymore on there. Because you can't do Wednesdays.
Jennifer Bartlett could be interesting on CAC.
So she was the first tonight.
What's in Denver and like capital projects, I think she said?
Capital projects, and she has the 2 kiddos. Oh, she went to planning school. She went to the planning school.
Interesting.
Both of them.
Say she would consider transportation and budget, did she say those specifically, or just
Right,
other
and
boards?
she said, Public Library Board was the last, it was ETAC, BIC, and Public Library Board.
Yeah, so I don't want, so that tells me that she did look over all of them and felt those were the best roles for her. Okay. Because I was gonna consider her for sustainability as well, but.
I think she looks good for the next round of BAC appointments, personally.
If she replies. Larry, Amy? I think like Nicole is great.
I was gonna say, where Nicole? So can we put her on sustainability potentially?
Yeah.
But I had, who did I have there? Oh no, Alexa, we put on water and sewer potentially.
I had Dr. Dennis there, but we could do, if Joel doesn't want that, we could do Nicole.
Okay. I'd be okay with that.
So if Joel says yes to CAC, Nicole as alternate on
Right.
sustainability. Nicole Flounders, is that right?
So hard, I liked
yeah.
Natalie so much, I would love to find a spot for her, but
Do you think Natalie would be good for CEC?
we could ask her. Do you wanna do that as the backup for Joel?
Yeah.
I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
Natalie instead of Nicole?
No, Natalie for CEAC, right?
If Joel takes
If
sustainability.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jackie.
Sorry, I'm just,
I know, it's, okay, so I think we have everything. Do you want me to go through it?
let me write my note on here real quick. Think I'm okay. So real quick, Jim, I'm gonna email Jim for, Historic
Oh, yeah,
Society.
right. There's a lot of bits.
DOA is Samuel. We're gonna ask Joel for CAC. If he says, no, we're gonna offer, sustainability. It says, and then if he takes CAC, the backup, oh boy, I'm on.
Okay, yeah, so if Joel takes CEAC, Ray would be the alternate. If he doesn't take it, if Joel doesn't take it, then Ray would be elevated to regular and we'll place Natalie as the alternate.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. If he doesn't take it, we're gonna offer it to Ray. If Joel does take it, Ray's a no. Correct?
No, Ray would be the alternate.
Would be the alternate, that's what they have done, okay, yeah. And if
So Natalie comes into play if
Ray
Joel-
says no.
Yeah.
Or no, if Joel says no.
Well, no, because if Joel says yes,
If Joel
If Joel
goes,
that
says yes,
makes
then
Ray
Ray-
the alternate.
Uh-huh.
And then if Ray says no to the alternate, it would be Natalie.
No, well, if Joel says no.
then we want.
Well,
Ray to
there's
be
a lot of
the-
no's that potentially could happen here, but basically we're just numbering Joel is 1, Ray is 2,
Okay,
Natalie is 3.
got it.
And 2 out of the 3 hopefully say yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Either that or they all say no to everything. They got a problem.
CAC, we're gonna offer him sustainability.
Correct.
Okay.
It's like the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Buffalo loses.
Oh my God. Okay, so I just need to email Joel and Ray. And I'm not gonna worry about the other ones until
You
people
get
say
an
no.
answer. Yeah. And then cultural arts, we have Angelica as the regular member. We have Louisa as a regular member and Rick as the alternate,
Okay.
Rick Summerson. Dan Frank as the EDDA. Robert as election commission. Jacob Summerson on ETAC, regular member. Jake Gilbert as a regular member and Madeline as the alternate. Historical Preservation, we have Jim Woodward. Malley Center, Rebecca Kramer. Parks and Rec, we have, and I'm gonna go just in the order that we have it, Kristen, Nicholas, Emma, and Rhonda. Planning and Zoning, Noah, Michelle, Carl, and Amy Cesario. Public Library Board, Amy Wilson and Alexa Dia. Sustainability, we have Logan, Tracy, Lana, and then Hillary K. Killian, and then Joel. If Joel says it takes CEAC, then we'll place Nicole here.
Okay, that's Nicole Flounders, right?
Flounders, yeah.
Okay.
Urban Renewal, we have Nicholas. And then Water and Sewer, we have John Moore and Alexa. All right. Perfect. All right, anything else?
I just one tiny flying, wait a minute, so sorry. I was looking at Rick Summerson's email to Jackie today. He does rank code enforcement as 3 and cultural arts as 5. We put him on cultural arts. We could put him on code enforcement instead of Natalie.
And make sure that
And
we
then
have
see if
some-
Natalie or Nicole wants the cultural arts. I don't know.
I'm more
if they
worried
have-
about, I'm more worried about no one taking any of this CEAC. So if you
Same.
can have Nicholas and make sure that we get quorum, maybe that does make sense.
No, not Nicholas, Rick.
Oh, sorry, Rick,
Somerset.
yeah.
Because then he could go here and then, because cultural arts might be easier to place
Yeah.
with some of the other people who we didn't place.
Because here's the,
Potentially
they
even
don't have an
Joel.
issue with quorum, do they?
No.
I'm fine
So-
with that. Did that make sense?
Well, it makes sense, but I think code enforcement could end up having a problem with quorum too, if we don't get somebody in there.
Right, that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
Rick.
Rick is more of a sure thing on CEAC.
He says that he
Okay.
would.
Because it's number 3 versus cultural arts was number
So
5.
does that mean that we would put Rick as the regular member? And
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know we just did this, but
No,
I just
no,
saw the email.
it makes sense. So then we'll put, okay, so Rick as the regular member on CEAC and have Joel take his pick of whether he wants to be alternate on CEAC or on sustainability.
Or cultural arts?
Who was the other person they have for cultural arts?
It was
So-
Rick.
No, but after that, after you elevated him to culture, CEAC.
Louisa, who applied for it.
No, we have her already, yeah.
Right, so there's an opening. Rick was in it. If we move Rick to CAC, we need to fill the last cultural arts
So
spot.
you wouldn't put like Natalie there or anything?
No, we could. Yeah, I think Natalie, Nicole, Joel. Get our list again.
I'm not too worried about the alternate then on C.
Molly, maybe.
Okay, I'm fine with Molly there.
I think we could ask, like, I don't have a strong preference between them.
Okay, well, let's put Rick and then we'll offer Joel
The alternate.
the alternate first.
So Ray is not on there at all then?
I think we still leave.
Only if Joel
If Joel
says,
says no to CEAC, we'll offer it to Ray.
and then Natalie's gone off it then. She's
Yeah.
like the third choice.
So do we want to offer Natalie cultural arts?
I don't know if she has it as a background there.
I like Natalie on ETAC.
I want everyone everywhere. That's the thing, is that the only person I think who mentioned the arts besides the people who applied for it was Rick. That was why I flagged him, but we have to put someone here. Jennifer Bartlett actually mentioned the events and the wayfinding, and CAC is now, communications is gonna take over cultural arts from Parks and Rec and integrate the cultural art into the wayfinding. So that could be something that she cares about at least.
Who's that, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Do we have to bet? Because we always have so much interest in CAC. This is the only time that we haven't. So I'm okay leaving the alternate.
I hate to leave an open spot and not appoint someone who would be
But not if
willing.
they clearly stated they want to be part of it.
And there's double alternates there, right? We don't have to fill the second alternate on that.
No, that's sustainability.
That's sustainability.
Oh, that's sustainability.
That, I was also, sustainability has no issue with quorum either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would ask her personally for me and just say like, hey, are you interested in this? If not, we would leave it open.
okay, let's try to be, let me see if I have it clear then. So we're gonna have Rick for the regular member for CEAC. We'll offer it to Joel, the alternate, as well as Ray, the alternate member for CEAC. Alternate member for cultural arts, you're saying Natalie? Is that, or was it Jennifer? Who was it?
Jennifer had just said that the thing she
The
liked about
wayfinding,
Inglewood was
yeah.
her wayfinding, and they're gonna start working on that more significantly, so that's why
Okay. So Jennifer, as the, offer it to Jennifer, just Jennifer. And then sustainability. Are we just gonna offer that to Joel as well, or Natalie? Keep it the same?
I think we said Joel and Nicole.
Or sorry, Nicole. Yeah, you're right.
You got that all straight, Jackie?
Sure.
I have it all written
Good thing
down.
this is recorded.
Fine, I can go back, so I've got Jim, I'm gonna ask Jim about, historic, BOA is Daniel. And then I had, what are we on, code enforcement?
Yeah.
We put Rick Somerson as the regular member. I'm gonna ask Joel if he wants to be an alternate. If he says no, I'll offer him the sustainability, don't tell me, sustainability alternate spot.
Correct.
If he takes sustainability, then I'm gonna offer Ray Serrano the alternate for CAC. You guys just put Jennifer Bartlett. I gotta ask her if she wants to be the alternate for CAC. And then when we get to sustainability, I think that was if Joel says no to any, if he doesn't want to do it, then we have Nicole Flounders down.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
You got it right.
Correct.
So don't anybody say anything. I'm just kidding. And again, you guys, Tuesday night, so I'm gonna do some email. I'm gonna actually send out emails tonight and hoping people get back to me by the morning.
Wow.
Because this has happened to us in the past, where people have said no, and then it's like we're voting. Do we feel comfortable with giving delegation authority to the mayor to just place people? So we have them in the resolution, and then we can make an amendment on Tuesday?
We may not have it in time, right?
Well, I'm thinking too, couldn't you like, anybody that says yes, pass that resolution. We can always bring a second resolution back the next regular meeting and have a little more time to, you guys have to figure out some pieces of the pie.
Okay. Well, I'm up for it if you want to give me a call about tomorrow once you
I
hear
think
back.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Okay.
I really just have like I really have 4 people to email first, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds great. All right, everyone, thank you very much for the work over the last 2 nights. This meeting is now adjourned. Everyone have a good evening.
Thanks, Mayor.
Woo, thanks, guys.
Solid, Jackie.
My goodness. You guys are making my whole brain work.
Think about our brains. Right.
Jackie, how are you not exhausted? Sending emails.
She does it for a living.
Trying to help you.
Tamara, I feel like you were like our babysitter. You were just here making sure things went well.
That's kind of my job here at the city.
Can't be left to our own devices.
Right, we make sure we don't break the law, violate for being here.
I just push it in.
I'm not gonna touch it.
She's going to get the box.